Hello. Hi. Thank you for the follow. Cosima? Cosima? Welcome, welcome. Hi, I'm Jun. You can call me QB, you can call me Jun, whichever you'd like. This is my first makers and crafts stream. I'm gonna be doing something I've never done before, ever. This is a diamond painting, and I've never worked with this before, so if you've ever worked with it before, then awesome. This is my first time working with this series. I call it Crime and Crafts. We're gonna go ahead and listen to a hey Shadow, how are you? We're gonna listen to a true crime video, and we're gonna go ahead and craft something at the same time. So hopefully you like it. If you do, drop me a follow if you haven't. I mean, I think both of you guys have already followed me, so thank you. Otherwise, just enjoy. I know I'm starting actually a little bit early. How have your days been? Happy Monday. Let me go ahead and prep. I have a candle here. It's Snowflakes and Cashmere from Bath & Body Works. So I'm gonna light that in your time. And I have some green tea here. This is, I should probably leave this. This is the well-loved cup, so I'm sorry. But this is Calypso Green. Ooh, I accidentally dropped the lid. This usually comes with a lid. Thankfully it didn't shatter because it's glass, but it's Calypso Green, so it's green tea, and I'm gonna have this steeping here for a little bit in the meantime while we talk. Set a timer. So I don't know if you guys are big tea drinkers or what it is, but green tea, I usually keep it at 3 minutes. So I'm gonna let it steep for 3 minutes, and then we're gonna pour our tea. But yeah, this is our diamond painting we're gonna work with. It's gonna be a fun time. I've never worked with a diamond painting before. I'm gonna have this. Damp it down. And any of these other tools, I have no idea. I actually put the round ones together because I think they actually help things go faster, I think. We'll see. But yeah, how has your day been, everyone? How was work? How was school? If you guys go to school, how was your day? Could have just been like your day off. I want to hear it. Honestly, my day was kind of interesting. I had to rush home because everything decided to get in the way of today's stream. There was a giant truck that, okay, I have no issue with truck drivers. It's just like the semi trucks. And I don't know about anyone else, but I live in a major city. And okay, if you're gonna go into a very small space in a major lane, please go, like major street, blocking all traffic, please go fast. And we were literally waiting for this. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult because it's a small sort of opening you have to back up into. But damn, we were in there for, God, I would say at least 5 to 10 minutes. No, I would say more 10 minutes. I'm being nice if I were to say 5. We were there for at least 10 minutes, and people were doing some dangerous stuff. Also, the biker that I found before, he to my house. Not to my house, but my street. I was so sad. I was like, man, I should have biked instead of driven. Oh, but yeah. What else happened? There was something else. Oh, right. The train took forever. Mine was probably, look at all these. These are cool. Sorry, I just squirreled and I just stopped talking. Just admire these. So there's this table on the side. I'm guessing these correspond, like the letter, or I'm sorry, the numbers. I have 11, I have 12, 13. I'm sorry if my nails look crusty. I tried to find this color again to touch up my nails. I could not find it. So, oh well. But yeah, work was super busy for me. I could not wait to do this series. I've been wanting one of the series that I wanted to do when I first started streaming ever. So, I was looking forward to doing this for a while. All right. It's about time, I think. I think I can start a little bit early. What do you think? Start a little bit early. Oh, sorry, I didn't even hear my alarm was going off. My headphones are so good at noise canceling. It's crazy. All right. 2. I have a little strainer holder here. There we go. I'm just gonna let it cool for a little bit. Okay. I'm ready to start. Are you guys ready to start? Woo! Let's listen to some crime, Let's listen to some crime. All right, so the one that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be listening to 2. One is going to be The Obsessive Ex That Got Away with Murder by Coffeehouse Crime, and then also Coffeehouse Crime. He turned his victims into barbecue pork. These are pretty popular, but I've never listened to them. Both of them almost got about 1 million on there. So sorry if you're a true crime fan and you are listening to this one already, at least you're gonna hear my Alright, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
In the year 2012, successful businessman Andrew Bush finally found love with a young, beautiful woman. However, as the months passed by, he realized that his new lover was becoming controlling, manipulative, and obsessive. What followed was a turbulent breakup with a strange woman who refused to let him go. Ultimately, for Andrew, all of this would end in the worst kind of tragedy. A tragedy that would barely be repaid in the eyes of
That's
the law.
good.
But who was Majka Kukakova? Why was she unable to let go of Andrew Bush? And what happened to her next? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime. Today we'll look at the disturbing case of Majka Kukakova. If you're new to this channel, I post true crime and strange cases here on a weekly basis. So if that does sound like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to the channel. And now, with that said, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive.
Okay.
This is the case
so
of
we're
Majka
looking for
Kukakova.
3. I think this is 3, right? Let's chop it right here.
Now, here's a new location on the Coffeehouse Crime map. Welcome to Costa del Sol, folks. Now, many of us have already heard of this popular holiday destination. Though, instead of murder, it's better known for its balmy beaches, beautifully historic Mediterranean towns, and rugged national parks. Located near the southern edge of Spain, you'd be hard done by to find rain and paradise.
I'd love to go to Spain.
With that said, it is very clear to see why this part of the country brings in more than 13 million visitors each year. Never too hot, yet barely ever too cold. Costa del Sol settles at around 15 degrees Celsius or 59 Fahrenheit in the winter, and reaches 29 degrees Celsius or 84 Fahrenheit in the summer. The area consists of
84? I mean, that sounds still really good.
Along the coastline, all of which keep a steady watch of the Alboran Sea.
That really does sound like a really nice...
Gorgeous blue skies aside, modern shopping malls, quaint roads, sandy beaches, and breathtaking vantage points provide a world of interest and entertainment.
Yeah, that sounds awesome for like vacay. Oh my gosh.
The world-famous Spanish cuisine awaits.
This is too much.
Now, everyone tends to think of paella, but personally speaking, you would likely catch me necking traditional Spanish donuts and margaritas instead.
Dude, yeah.
In Europe, Costa del Sol
I'd like that.
For many centuries, and has been home to the Romans, the Byzantines, the Muslim Taifa,
Am I doing this right?
and eventually the Catholics too. Since the 1950s and beyond, it has turned into one of Spain's most renowned tourist destinations. In fact,
How do I
more
do
than
this?
15 billion euros of holidaymakers' money was spent here in 2014 alone, which, to be honest, is no surprise at all. One of those more affluent tourists went by the name of Andrew Bush. And interestingly, Andrew wasn't your typical visitor. He was a
let's try.
multi-millionaire who owned a gorgeous small mansion in the region.
It's the
However,
opposite way.
before we get to what generated such wealth, let's talk about the man himself. Andrew Bush was a British citizen born and raised in the United Kingdom. Born in October 1965, he was 48 years old at the time this story took place, in the year 2014. Now, Andrew was a very successful businessman. From what I could find online, he remained the director of his business for 13 long years. Company documentation states that he resigned in April 2014, though you will soon
Very
find
successful.
out that to not
49?
technically be the case. Slightly perplexing side note, but his company was listed as dormant with all net assets equating to £1, which is slightly odd considering all of the money he seemed to have. So I'm not sure if something
I might have to do it like one by one.
In stark
Let's try
contrast
it.
to his company's
Try
wonderful
this.
accounts, Andrew really did live a life of wealth and success. He owned many luxury cars, all of which he kept parked in a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom mansion located in Poolmerrick in Wales. Funny nickname, but Andrew was known as the King of Bling, and this was for
The
a very
King
good
of
reason.
Bling.
The businessman was
It's kinda
having launched
It's a
as
little
Bling
cringe,
Jewelers
and I'm gonna
7
lie,
years
just a
prior.
little
He
bit.
is known today as the company Gold Trader. He owned various other businesses too.
No.
This including a pawnbroker,
I don't know
a
how to
beauty
do
salon,
this one.
and a
Okay,
luxury
okay.
car and limousine hire company.
Let's chill
Andrew
with
was
this.
described by people around him as a good man and a good neighbor. Now, not much is known about him as a person.
Pawnbroking is a little
excellent
shady though,
businessman,
not gonna
At
lie.
times had a quite forceful personality. He had confidence and quite distinctly a clear presence in any room. In the mid-90s, he married Samantha Mason, who at the time was a local news presenter.
Did I?
The two had a daughter named Ellie, though sadly split up a few years after her birth. Despite this, the couple remained amicable, and Andrew was said to adore his daughter, who, now aged 19, worked for him part-time. Andrew's business mindset helped feed his ostentatious taste for champagne and expensive cars. He owned a red convertible Ferrari and a grey Lamborghini, and at one stage he had a Bentley too. However, it was
Hi,
over
Camilla.
$50 sold that he kept the real
Welcome, welcome.
a top-of-the-range.
Thanks for stopping
Not that
by.
this was the only thing he had in Spain, because to house and
Thank you
protect
for
it
stopping
was
by.
Andrew's mansion, which he named
I know that you have
Mansion
you have
is
stream
located
later
only
on
2
today
minutes away
too.
from one of Costa del Sol's beautiful beaches. Sadly,
I hope
Google
you have a
hasn't
good
traveled down
time.
this road since 2011, so you can only see
We're
a view
just
of the
chilling
mansion in the
here.
early stages
We're just
of its
enjoying
renovation.
ourselves.
However, images taken later would prove it to be a very grand home. Andrew would visit this place roughly 4 times a year. It sported 5 bedrooms, had a large inviting pool, and even an egg chair that overlooked the garden. Sports cars were stored
Trying
in the
to
driveway, which of course is where he
clay that
often
used to
kept his
be.
beloved Hummer truck along with his
Anymore.
red convertible Lotus. To
or
complement
anything.
this rather opulent lifestyle, Andrew had a rather indulgent taste in women. You see, he liked them to be around half his age, and was seen as quite a player. The word misogynist has been thrown around in quite a lot of the old reports, though I can't seem to find out why. And
It was
really,
in the
this is more
bag.
of an opinion than a fact. In the winter of 2011,
think
Andrew began to grow close to one of his colleagues who he employed in the jewellery store.
You're supposed
And this colleague is
to.
very important to our case today. With long hair, a height of 5'5", and an age barely half his own, this blonde bombshell was a serious distraction to him, and her name was Micah Kukakova.
And you're supposed to
Born
press
on
the
May the
clay
25th,
in.
1990, she was 24 years old at the time
Like
this
this?
story takes place. She spent most of her life growing
Like
up in the
that?
small Slovakian
I
town
think.
of Nova Basocha. With no economy or local businesses, the town's population has been dwindling in recent decades.
Okay.
Just over 1,000 residents currently live here, and so you can likely imagine how any kid may have viewed this place. Her classmates remember Micah as a popular and pretty woman. She always wanted to.
Oh,
be the
she
centre
is
of
pretty.
attention
Oh my
and
gosh.
attracted the hopeful hearts of many of her male classmates.
I'm
Micah's
sure.
parents
She looks
were
very
honest
pretty.
and hardworking folks. Not much is known about her father, but her mother was a manager for a local building society. Moving into her adult years, Micah was sick of her hometown and desperately wanted to leave. And recognizing
I hear
she
that a
had this
lot,
air of physical attraction,
actually.
she wanted to break into modeling. Over the course of
Like, sorry to pause it, but I don't know about anyone else, but since I live in a major city, every time I listen or I talk to people who are from the suburbs or anything like that, when like in the surrounding city, they're always like, I need to get out of here. I wish I could live where you do and stuff like that. And I've never seen living in the city as something that is in particular super appealing, right? And so like I see that and like I'm just like almost confused, you know? Oh my gosh, I took like 5 of them on one. But yeah, I don't know if anybody else lives in a major city, but let me know if you have that type of same type of experience. I feel like that's the case. Anyway, back to it.
2 years, and while dating a man named Peter, the pair saved what money and courage they could to move to the charming city of Bristol, England. They moved with the promise of photo modelling work. However, when they got there, things didn't quite go to plan. Their modelling careers either made marginal gains or failed, which led to both of them
Modeling's
falling
hard.
rather quickly.
Like you
To
gotta
supplement
like
her
really
income, Micah
hustle.
started working part-time jobs in the city, where she became a chef, a store clerk, and eventually a helper in Andrew's shop. And this is where she would cross paths with Andrew Bush. Entering one of his stores for work, her beauty seemed to do the trick, because after having an interview with him, he hired her to work in Gold Trader. Andrew seemed to like
Gold,
Micah for a
holy
cute
shit.
and innocent personality. And as for Micah, well, she thought very highly of him too, as he was wise and wealthy after all. As you can likely guess,
Oh,
the
yeah?
two eventually fell in love. However, there was one problem to all
There's
of
not
this.
much to fall in
Peter
love
was
with
still
when
an
you
evictor.
just
And
Well,
what
there's
did
one
Micah
thing to
do
fall
with
in
him?
love with.
Well, she dropped his ass like a sack of potatoes. And
Goddamn.
so, thus began a passionate, luxurious, and strange relationship between Micah and Andrew. And over the next 2.5 years, they would have a lot of fun. Images taken by the two portrayed the lives of a very fortunate couple. They took photos in front of expensive cars, on lavish holidays, and in fancy clothes. Life seemed to be pretty peachy. However, behind the scenes, their relationship started to break down relatively quickly. With Micah more than half his age, she was a different generation when it came to energy and maturity. Where she wanted to go out drinking, go to parties, and have a more extroverted type of fun, Andrew was always tired from the relentless work he was putting in. As you can likely
Oh, I was
imagine,
gonna
this
say, because he's
ultimately
old as
created a
fuck,
rift
dude.
between
I'm
the
old
two,
too. I
and
would get
trust began
tired.
to
I
form.
can't, like,
Now, in addition to all of this, Micah was
I
beginning to
cannot,
become rather ungrateful.
you
She wanted
know,
to buy very expensive clothes and jewelry.
keep up with someone
However,
half my
since she was
age.
theoretically
You know?
broke, it meant she'd have to
Like, if
use
I'm
Andrew's
80, I
money
cannot
instead. Andrew
handle the
clocked
same
onto
energy
this
as, like,
and
somebody
grew
who's
quite
60.
frustrated with her spending habits.
Or, like,
Though
40
foolishly, she
and
failed
dating
to
somebody
slow
who's
down.
20.
Now, this is probably the icing on the cake, but to add to the list of concerns, Micah was growing obsessive with her partner. She wanted to know where he was at all times of the day, often stepped over
That's
boundaries
good
with his
so far.
friendships, and
Look
even
at
tried to
that.
see him every passing moment of the day. Micah was always worried about Andrew with other women, and apparently he couldn't even leave the shop to grab a cup of coffee without her following him. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, going out for
Oh,
coffee is
she had
sacred time. To me,
stalker
that's Adrian time,
tendencies.
and let me tell you, nobody gets in the way of that. There was one time
Nobody
while
gets in
Dubai,
the way of
Micah threw
coffee
into a
house
raging
crimes
tantrum with
coffee.
Andrew when he told her that
Yeah,
she
that
couldn't
sounds
buy a
about.
new handbag. She actually ended up throwing the old one in his face and
Oh
even
my
stabbed him his
god.
laptop. And this is where the real red flags start to roll in. But she actually became so jealous of Andrew's daughter that she removed all family photos from his home, replacing them with
Oh
photos
no,
of him and
girl.
his face.
That's
Her
not gonna
jealousy and
happen.
attention-seeking went so far that, one day after an argument, she handcuffed herself to the bed while Andrew was out, before calling him and the police. Micah claimed that she'd been overpowered during a robbery, and one of those things that had been taken was Andrew's passport, thus preventing him to go to the Middle East on business. As you can likely guess, all of this was too much for Andrew, and eventually he broke things off with the young woman. Micah had become too unpredictable, too greedy, and too problematic. Now, sadly, Micah did not take the breakup very well, and instead she became even more obsessed with him. And although she eventually moved back to
That's a lot.
Hampshire to live with Peter, she still kept a close eye on Andrew.
You guys are
You heard
funny.
me right, by the way.
Look at all
I
those
did say
icons.
moved
Or
back
those
in with
emotes.
Peter. The man took her back with open arms, and incredibly, the two started dating almost immediately. In the meanwhile, she began to stalk Andrew online. While the two were still together, she had discreetly installed the app Find My Friends on his phone.
Oh
This
no.
allowing her to watch his location at all times of the day. Andrew had absolutely no privacy.
Okay.
And even worse, he wasn't aware of it at all.
So I don't know how you guys feel about this. Hopefully you guys are okay with me pausing. So, um, I have some friends. I had some friends who were dating before. How do you guys feel? I don't know if you guys have significant others or if previous relationships you've been in before. Um, how would you feel about doing like I guess like a how do I describe this? Where you're able to see where that person is at all times. And there are some relationships that I have seen them do. Um it's to me it almost feels like an invasion of privacy and I'm not okay with that because it makes me feel like oh I can't like trust like my partner doesn't trust me when I like if you want to know where I am just text me, call me or something, right? But they have this app where they're like, "Oh, I want to know where they are." And they just flip it open. They're like, "Oh, yeah, they're on the highway right now." And it's just like, "Oh, they're on their way. Oh, they're halfway. They're about like 20 minutes away." So you can do and to me, that's a little creepy. That's a little weird. But I guess to other people it's not. Um my landlord also is that way with his I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, okay. So
To sum up the current situation, Micah was in disbelief that the relationship had ended. She still messaged Andrew daily, begging him to take her back. It became quite clear that she believed that both were destined to be together. Friends warned Andrew not to take her back. They claimed that she was crazy.
yeah, his
even
friends are
referring to
right.
her as a
She's
psychopath.
crazy.
For those that know, real Jodi Arias vibes right here. Thankfully, he didn't, but that wouldn't stop Micah from posting videos of herself online, begging for Andrew to take her back. She made several video montages filled with pictures of them with quotes such as, "Love is communication, us is crazy." She also implored
What?
Andrew to forget everything bad, saying, "Days without you don't have meaning." And "Let's be together forever," while Celine Dion played in the background. Andrew ignored all of these videos. Besides, he had
Yes,
found
he
the
should.
love anyway. Maria Korotaiva was even younger than Micah, and at the age of 20, she was 29 years younger than he was.
Oh,
The
Jesus
relationship
Christ,
between Andrew and
dude.
Maria seemed to be a lot more stable, and the couple even had plans to move to London after she had finished her degree. Maria was a Russian-born singer and writer who also owned a small property business. However, what
Well,
life
she
was
seems
actually like
ambitious.
between the two, we will unfortunately never really know, as only a few months later, everything would change forever.
Okay, I want to make sure I've got these in the row correctly. It does look like it though.
April 2014.
I'm looking at it from like
While stalking her ex-boyfriend through social media, Micah realized that he and Maria were preparing to go to his mansion in Costa del Sol. The two were not expected to arrive for a few more days, and so Micah concocted a plan. Unknown to Andrew, but she had cut copies of the keys to his mansion before the two broke up. And with him unaware of this, she would have the element of surprise on her side. On April the 2nd,
Hold my hand against that,
2014,
unfortunately.
Micah traveled to Dubnica Airport in Slovakia.
Oh,
boarding a
did she
flight to
kill
arrive at
both of
Costa del
them?
Sol.
Not even just
After
him?
arriving,
Oh,
she
that's
took a
fucked up.
taxi to Andrew's mansion, let herself in, and waited for him to arrive. She stayed in her pajamas, lounged around the house, and slept in his bed for 2 whole days. When finally, just after midnight on April the 5th, 2014, Andrew and Maria had finally made it home. They had spent the evening by the coast after their flight, and unknown to Micah at the time, but Andrew had even asked Maria to marry him. As soon as
Oh my
Andrew
God.
turned on the lights to the main entrance, his fiancée sensed that something was terribly wrong. Women's underwear was hanging on a clothesline near the front door. A suitcase was found on the floor, and several pairs of high heels were sprawled nearby. The two heard a shuffle, and that is when they saw her. Peering up at the top of the stairs, they saw Micah standing still, looking
just
down
dropped.
at them. Maria screamed. She ran out of the house as fast as possible and into the Hummer truck, Closing the door behind her, she locked the vehicle.
Smart
After a few
girl.
minutes, Andrew calmly walked outside. He said that everything was okay, but if she could please call the police and ask them to come quickly. Now, unfortunately, Maria's phone was dead. However, with full confidence that Andrew could fix the problem without the authorities, she sat tight and waited. Maria sat there for several minutes, waiting for her partner to return in the dead of the night. However, that is when she heard 3 gunshots ring out.
Oh, that's
After a
fucked up.
few
No.
seconds of silence,
That must be
2 soldiers
terrifying.
followed,
Imagine just
followed by
waiting for your
multiple loud
partner,
bangs.
and then
Maria
you
could
just,
only
like,
imagine it
hear
was a
gunshots.
suitcase or
That's-
something of similar weight and shape. Watching the entrance to the house, one lone figure
Oh,
appeared.
wait.
It was Micah, and after closing and locking the door
Uh-oh.
behind her, she started walking directly towards Maria and the Hummer truck. As she approached the driver's door, Micah gently told Maria to get out of the truck. Apparently, Andrew had said to her that she could use it to get to the airport. What was odd is that Micah appeared to be very calm and collected, which made Maria feel very uneasy. And after getting into the Hummer truck, she drove off into the distance. With Micah gone and no sign of Andrew, Maria was petrified about what may have just happened. She ran to the front door to check on her fiancé. However, it had been shut and locked. Using an external socket found in the garden, she then charged her phone long enough to call the police. However, it would take a few hours for them to arrive. Disappointingly, Maria had to walk up the main road to find responding officers, as strangely, the police could not find where the villa was located. It then took fire services another 2 hours to find the house, and after finally scaling the walls and breaking in, they found the motionless body of Andrew. He had been shot 3 times, 1 wound to the arm, and 2 to the head. A .38 revolver was found at the scene, planted in Andrew's hand in a haphazard attempt to make it look like he had shot himself. However, with Maria being witness to the night's events, that was going to prove very hard to believe. Since she already knew who Micah was, the authorities were able to release an arrest warrant rather swiftly. But, as mentioned before, that was after they'd already lost several hours.
Sorry, that was my landlord.
Which meant that
He had a question
theoretically,
for
she
me.
should easily be identified.
Not an answer. So.
However, with an engine so beefy, it also highlighted that she may have already covered serious ground. And so, with that in mind, an international arrest warrant was released. The authorities of Spain, Portugal, France, and beyond were notified. And as you can likely guess, this story made international headlines. Here in the United Kingdom, the news of Mr. Bling's death brought both shock and intrigue. In the meanwhile, Spain was dealing with an active crime scene, and rumors and whispers began to circulate back in Slovakia. Maria was kept under the watchful eye of investigators. Andrew's homes were put on lockdown, and his family began to process their devastating loss. And as all of this was happening,
That's crazy, though.
Micah's silence lingered on. Unknown to everyone else at the time, but Micah had actually spent the last 3 days traveling 3,000 kilometers or 2,000 miles all the way back home to Slovakia.
Oh my God,
she'd
she
actually
went back
abandoned the Hummer
home?
truck only 2 miles
Mad
away from
woman.
Andrew's mansion.
I guess
before
she's
they
like,
took her
where am
home.
I gonna go,
And after
right? It's
being
not like
told
she owns a
about, well,
home.
everything that was going on, Peter then turned full simp mode for Micah. He flew over to Spain, hired out a rental
Oh my
car, and
God.
drove over 2,000 miles back home.
Dude,
Although
the
her
ex.
parents initially denied it to
The
officers,
simp
they were
ex.
actually keeping in contact with her throughout those 3 days.
She
But I
literally
guess she
killed
realised how
someone.
doomed
You're
she
gonna
actually
take her
was,
in? You're
because after
crazy.
getting home and hugging her parents, she decided to hand herself in to the authorities. The entire trip was pointless though,
Oh,
because
well.
after driving 3 days in one
That's
direction,
surprising.
she
She
was then
decides to
shipped
give
all the
herself
way
up?
back to Costa del Sol, where she remained behind bars for her trial.
Alright, time to take
If
a
you
sip,
thought
huh?
the story was over, you are mistaken, because Micah wouldn't go down with a clean conscience. At first, she claimed that she was pregnant with Andrew's child and travelled to Spain to tell him. But after arriving at the property, Andrew allegedly flew into a fit of rage. Apparently, the murder was an accident. She claimed that Andrew had pulled out a gun, aimed it at her face, and then said, "This is where everything ends." But after pulling the trigger, the gun apparently failed to fire. Micah claimed that she then threw herself at him, thus causing a physical fight between the two. She further claimed that after pulling the weapon off Andrew, it suddenly went off, which deafened her. She then tried to run up the stairs to get away, but he grabbed her legs. To quote Micah's testimony, "I didn't realize I still had the gun
Wait,
in my hand.
but-
I didn't
oh,
know
okay,
what
never mind.
happened, but I managed to get upstairs, and then there was silence. And when I went back downstairs..."
Well, how many
he
times
was
has he
lying on the
shot?
ground. Moving into the legal proceedings of this case, the judge would not believe her story. Maybe
Yeah,
if it were not
because
so unbelievable, then she would have had a fighting chance at claiming it was self-defense. However, as you and I and everyone else can see, there were too many holes in her story.
yeah.
To begin with, Micah's pregnancy was a complete fabrication. She was never pregnant with Andrew's child, which therefore eliminated the suggestive motive. In addition to this, claiming that she couldn't remember taking 3 shots at Andrew is very hard to believe. Honestly, the sheer audacity of this woman is quite remarkable.
The sheer audacity.
How Andrew's body
Like-
was so far away from the stairs, where she claimed that apparently he had grabbed her by the legs after getting shot. And as for the gun she'd placed in his hand to make it look like he'd taken his own life, yeah, Chief, try explaining not 1 but 2 shots to the head. If all of this wasn't enough already, the gun was also proven
that's
to be
true.
legally sold to Micah, with the weapon's serial number scratched off. It's probably no surprise that
She
Micah
brought a
Kokova
legally
was
bought
found guilty in this
weapon?
story.
Oh,
The judge in her original trial
girl.
expressed his belief that she had acted in a passionate state of mind.
Uh-oh.
And so, in May 2016, she was sentenced
too?
to only 15 years behind bars
What?
after 5 days of deliberation.
15?
In addition to her sentence, the court ordered Micah and her family to pay €200,000 to Andrew's family. The
Okay,
equivalent
no.
of
This can't be
$219,000
over.
Or £176,000.
What?
It was learned
15
that
years
due to
for
these legal bills,
freaking killing
Micah's parents
someone?
were forced to sell their home in order to help keep their daughter afloat. Now, 2 wrongs don't make a right, but the move was likely a requirement anyway. Due
What was
to their
the,
daughter's
his
residents of their town
his new
essentially
lover's
exiled
name?
them, and almost
Was it
everyone
Maria?
refused to acknowledge their existence due to the
She
actions
needs
Micah had
trauma
committed.
counseling
To say that
ASAP.
Micah had it easy in
Actually.
prison is a complete understatement. Her legal bills were paid by her parents. She learned new languages behind bars, taught other prisoners English, and even had special access to the prison's swimming pool. And unfortunately, her easy ride did not stop there. Although her original sentence was 15 years, which, by the way, is already a pitiful amount for a murderer, this was
Yeah.
then further reduced to 13. When judges ruled that they unnecessarily imprisoned her for breaking into Andrew's holiday home, they knocked 2 years off her sentence.
Oh
But
my
sadly,
gosh.
the story gets even worse. As after only 8
I need more
years
clay,
behind
huh?
bars for the murder of another human
need more
being,
clay.
Micah Kokova was released back into the free world. Since then, she hasn't wasted any time living life to
15
the
years.
max. And although
Can you
she's
imagine?
theoretically on parole, meaning she cannot leave the
Somebody that
country, being forced
you
to spend a few years in a
knew
Mediterranean
who was
paradise
working
doesn't sound like
hard,
the most grueling punishment.
like
Micah has since returned to
successful,
social media,
everything.
including apps like Instagram and TikTok to flaunt her bikini body on camera. It is also reported that, apparently, she has been pampering herself with beauty treatments, all while failing to pay compensation to Andrew's family.
Oh
People
my
have seen her at the
gosh.
gym, in nightclubs, and even
Get
at
this
beach
girl.
clubs, lying on sunbeds, taking sheepish
No, I'm
selfies
sure
on
the-
coast,
when was
and
this made?
sprawling on the beach. Nobody would
2 months
assume this
ago, I'm
woman,
sure
often
the internet
posing
has
as if
done
she
their
were a
job.
model, was actually a stone-cold killer, a murderer who ultimately snatched the life of a hard-working and successful businessman. Now,
Yeah.
Andrew Bush may have potentially had a problematic habit of dating younger women. And with
Yeah,
this,
but-
unfortunately, the lack of maturity often comes with the territory. Either way, he never deserved to find himself intertwined.
Yeah, but
with
it's
an
like if
obsessive,
you're
controlling
being like,
psychopath.
oh, you're
Now,
gonna
Andrew
date
seems to have
a
accomplished
20-year-old?
most of his life,
Well,
but his personality did
you're
not
gonna
change
die.
at all.
Like,
He
that's
was
not
charismatic,
exactly,
friendly, determined, and strong. He maintained a good friendship
True
with
to
his
life.
ex-wife and
Not
was
true to
well
life.
loved by his daughter. Both of these women who now miss him dearly.
oh.
It is believed that Micah has set up home near the city of Seville, where she will serve the remaining years of her sentence as a free woman. It's quite disgraceful when you think about it. If she had any remorse at all, then she would be paying back her legal obligations. However, she hasn't paid a single
Flip this
penny to
down.
Andrew's family,
Hell yeah.
and instead has been flaunting herself on holiday.
Hack.
Anyway, we don't actually know what she thinks or believes, because so far she's rejected every news media interview, saying that they have to pay her more
Alright.
if they want to hear her
Here's an
story.
update.
Honestly, I feel so sorry for Maria and Andrew's family.
This is just
I
the
feel
black
same
part.
way they do in this case, that the justice system
Yeah,
has failed
yeah.
them, and
Good,
allowed a
good.
remorseless killer to roam free.
Oh,
Now,
I'm
the
trying to
Spanish
grab where
system
the
does
camera
tend to
is.
be rather sporadic when it comes to sentencing.
There it is. There you go.
However, in Micah's case, many
Nice
claim
update.
that maybe she
Just
got
in
away with
black.
it because she has a pretty face. I find this story very similar to that of Jodi Arias, and in this case, I think it should have received a sentence just as harsh.
Yeah, it's so weird. She got 13
Anyway,
years
folks, I
for
think that
murder.
just about wraps up our case
Jesus
today.
Christ,
Thank you so much for
dude.
being here for another
World's
video about
fucked.
Coffee House Crime. I really do appreciate it. So, what do you think about
Woohoo!
this case? Do you think that Micah should have got longer behind bars?
Oh, for
And
sure.
why do
I
you
don't
think
think
she was
anybody's
released so
out here
early?
being
Let
like,
me know in the comments down
oh,
below.
you murdered
Like the video
someone?
if you haven't
10
yet,
years.
and please consider subscribing.
6 years. Oh, it's fine.
Just a quick reminder.
Better luck
that
next
I'm currently
time.
giving away 2 free coffee machines. So if you'd like to check
Sick.
them out, please visit my social media.
Are
can
you
find
guys
me at
more of coffee
Crime on
people or
Instagram
tea
Facebook, or at
Personally, I am
on
more
Twitter.
of
Anyway, folks,
I mean,
think that just
I
about
drink
does
both,
it.
honestly.
Thank you again for watching, and as always, I'll see you again very soon for another video. Until that moment arrives,
But,
though, remember to look after yourself, look after each other, and of course, stay safe.
I will drink coffee
Thank you, and goodbye.
Yeah, I will drink coffee if it is, if I'm exhausted. Like, exhausted. I will go ahead and do that. Oh my gosh, I realized I have emotes only. I just checked. Thank you, thank you. I was like, you guys are emoting a lot. I wonder what the heck is going on. What the heck? And then I realized, oh shit. Oh, it was. Thank you. Thank you for saying. Yes, I do see you. Yes, I see. Yes, yes, yes. I realize, yeah. I realized that I did it from last time. Let me Okay. Worries. No worries. Okay, so hopefully you guys liked that one. That one was crazy. Freaking 15 years. I cannot believe that. For literally killing someone, I could not. There was actually another one that I heard that somebody got. I think it was 10 years for killing someone. Why? Why? Anyway, next one is, let me go ahead and update my text for because called oh, it's called He Turned. Gotta move this before I spill the whole thing over. He turned his victims into barbecue pork. I'm glad. Yeah, me too. I am a sucker. And I want to share that with other people because it's so fun. I think it's fun to talk about it and see what the heck is going on in this world sometimes. Especially with I read or watched one today. Not from Coffee House Crime, but if we have another if we have enough time, I'd like to watch it. From a different YouTuber. Let me look it up. I watched him today. Not that, not that. Don't look at my things. Oh my gosh. Maybe not. Okay. So it is It's like it's more of it's like JCS. If you guys heard of JCS, definitely like him. Very cool. Yes. Okay. All right, here you go. Next one.
Sometimes the expectations of your parents can be a heavy load to bear. Some of us may rise to the challenge, while others descend into a spiraling path of failure. However, what if this spiraling path
And Camilla, I'll keep an eye out, by the way.
End? Henry Chow's story was one of those. He was a consistent failure.
Thank you for letting me know.
Achieve anything of value.
That's very helpful.
30 years of his life. But how did this man react to the pressures of his parents? And how did his actions shock an entire nation?
Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to Coffee House Crime.
Alright, back to it, huh?
The strange case of Henry Chow. Now, I don't normally feel the need to put a trigger warning at the beginning of a video. However, I'm going to make an exception for this one, so you have been warned. You know, it's quite strange how
Oh, well, thank you for dropping by, Shadow.
The case of Abby Choi.
I hope you check more of Crimes and Crafts soon. Bye, thanks for coming.
So if that does sound like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out. And now, as always, with that said, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Henry Chow.
I can't wait to do these too. Do more of these. This will be so fun. I'm actually enjoying myself a lot. This is very relaxing.
Today, we're heading back to a fairly familiar location, and that is the special city of Hong Kong. Hong Kong, known locally as Shangang Tebi Xing Zhengku, is a very unique nation, comprised of
he practiced that for sure.
Islands.
He practiced that.
The once British crown-owned region boasts various incredible and interesting features. And with a population of around 7.4 million residents in a 400 square mile area, it is one of the most densely populated cities in the world. Now, Hong Kong's existence is remarkably unique. In 1997, the region became separated from the mainland of China, running the mantra of one country, two systems. This separation
took them a while, actually,
over all matters outside of foreign and defense affairs, at least until the year 2047.
To become independent, that is.
The administrative center being found in Victoria, it also plays host to being the major trade and financial center of the region, as well as being a highly popular harbor. Taking the Star Ferry between the various islands allows you to soak up the unique atmosphere here, which is often described as being where the West meets the East. For reference, think Chinese food and Mickey Mouse all in the same region.
Did they have to use a Mickey Mouse soundboard for that?
The Temple Street Night Market, Causeway Bay, and Repulse Bay, which is a crescent moon-shaped beach that tourists flock to in the warmer weather. Now, of course, all of this fascinating scenery is best observed above the skyline. And let me tell you, there are plenty of options when it comes to rooftop bars. Anyway, it is here in Hong Kong that we find the antagonist of our story, and the name today is Henry Chow Hoi Liang. Born on June 7, 1983, Henry was the second son of Glory Chow Wing Ki and Moon Sui Yuit Yi. Now, not much is publicly known about Glory's and Moon's
I wonder if he actually speaks Chinese, because he's very good at his pronunciation, I'm sure.
During the events of today's case.
That's good.
And the family of four, including Henry's older brother, lived together in an apartment in Sai Ying Pun. Henry's childhood was largely unremarkable. However, it is noted that his parents supported him to the very best of their abilities. They even paid for his private tuition and his piano lessons. However, it does seem that none of these things were actually what Henry wanted for himself. Even from a very young age, he was often described as living in his own world, and by the time secondary school came around, he barely had any friends and began to fail school. Of course, this was an extreme disappointment to his parents, and when he began to fail his school grades, they decided to step in to do something about it. In a fresh bid to provide a life with education, Henry was sent to Canberra in Australia to start a new course in actuarial mathematics. Interesting side note, but something I found out recently. Did you know that Canberra State is actually in the shape of a parrot? Kind of funny, right?
Oh.
Anyway, it seems that this venture was also destined for failure, as over time, Henry became the subject to a lot of bullying and discrimination. And eventually, the mental strain caused by this harassment, alongside his failure to do well at school, forced him to drop out in the year 2003. After dropping out, he returned to Hong Kong where he lied to his parents, telling them that he had
I can see
successfully
that though.
graduated. However,
Bad.
as you can likely imagine, it
Being a
didn't
foreigner
actually take
sucks
long
and
for Glory or
that.
Moon to figure out the truth. They were understandably
Oh,
incredibly disappointed in their son and even
grab
attempted
two.
to get him back into education, doing this by forcing him to attend a university in Hong Kong. This attempt, though, was once again turned into yet another failure, and after this, he became withdrawn and turned to the world of online gaming, which appears to be the only place he
Hey.
reportedly felt any sort of respect. He managed to maintain a small circle of friends here, but would often talk about very worrying topics with them. This included telling them that he believed he was a psychopath, and across most of his social media, he used an image of Adolf Hitler. Now, academia was
Okay.
not the only thing that Henry underperformed in his life.
Not part of
either.
my
To put
community
things
anymore. I was
short,
being
he was
like,
a miserable
woohoo,
toddler,
online
losing any
gaming.
sort of girlfriend
Not
he
that
had.
type of
And
online.
as you can likely imagine, this was due to his lack of compassion and care. After getting one of those girlfriends pregnant, and upon finding
What
out,
the?
he told her to terminate her pregnancy. The young woman refused, however, and chose to keep the baby instead. And in typical old Henry fashion, instead of stepping up to the mark to help raise the child, he cut all ties with the mother and decided to have nothing to do with either of them ever again.
Well, I
Drifting in
mean,
and out of
I don't
various
know.
jobs, Henry failed to keep one for more than a few weeks.
I mean, do you guys agree with that though? Like, I don't know how to describe that, but like if I were to I don't know, if you were to have a baby, right? And or I'm sorry, if your partner decided to keep the baby and you knew that you weren't ready for a child, I mean, would you take it like responsibility or would you leave that person? You know, it's just like if you know that you're not going to be a good father or a good mother, for example, because of the circumstances you're in. To be honest, I don't blame somebody who decides to have the baby and then, you know, either give it up to adoption or have that person be a single parent. I mean, it's harder for them, but they chose that they wanted to have that baby. By continuing to have that baby, they're like, okay, well, I know that my partner doesn't want to be in that baby's life, but I do. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and be a single parent, you know? So I don't know. Like I don't really blame somebody to be in that situation if they're doing it like I don't want to have a child and be a terrible parent. I would rather just because there's enough fucked up people. I would rather just have them be adopted by a good family. Personally. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I'm a terrible person for doing that, but I don't believe that every person is meant to be. Henry was one person like that. Who knows? Okay, anyway.
At a time. He would either be fired due to his performance, or he would randomly quit on the spot. In fact, the only job that Henry could nail down was his own role as a pianist, though
Just
he would
checking
never want his
something.
parents to know that. Anyway, it was during one of those jobs in the year 2007 that Henry met someone who is rather important to our story today, and his name is Angus Say Chin K.
Yes.
Angus, who was aged 35, was a Macanese man who is often described as a gentle and pure soul. Unfortunately, though, he wasn't academically gifted, and when compared to Henry's relatively high IQ of 126, Angus sat at a low-ranging 84. Friends would often comment that Angus was easily manipulated and would happily do what others wanted in exchange for friendship or good food. He wasn't romantically fortunate either. The first girlfriend he had tragically died while they were still together, and when he eventually married his first wife, on their wedding night she confessed that she'd only used him to obtain a Hong Kong citizenship. Side note, by
that's
the way,
fucked.
she was already married too. Anyway, he
Wait,
eventually
what?
moved to New Zealand, where he then fell in love with another woman. However, in a rather cruel twist of fate, she left him high and dry after scamming him out of all of his money. This eventually forcing him to return to Hong Kong in 2010.
That's beyond just like
played heavily on his
having
nerves,
bad
and sadly, over the next few years,
like luck.
Angus made several attempts to take his own life. Now,
Oh.
all 3 attempts were unsuccessful, however, it did come at a price. And after swallowing mercury, he suffered a permanent change to his mental health and was never quite the same again. Dwindling mental health can be a devastating thing to experience,
Let's
and
look at
as a lot of
it.
us will know, those who experience it will be left feeling helpless and vulnerable. Now, there are various things you can do in this situation.
I'm wondering
ranging from
how
constructive things
mental
like
health is
therapy and
looked at
antidepressants, all the way
in
down
Hong
to
Kong.
destructive
Because
things
I
like
know
drugs and
in
alcohol.
sometimes in Asia
During
it's
this
not
time
looked at
frame,
as like
Angus was down on his luck, and his way of coping
positively, I
was by grasping
guess.
at anything or anyone that made him feel happy. The problem is, people can inherently be selfish, and not everyone should be trusted. And unfortunately for Angus, this was very much the case for his friend Henry.
Oh no! Dropped my pen.
By the end of 2012, Henry had found himself in a rather large
Now I
amount
need
of
new
debt.
clay
He had
because
done
I
well
don't know
to
if it
stick to
got
his
dirt.
usual mantra of failure too, and unemployment aside, he had lost even more money after making several poor investments. Up until this point in time, he mostly survived off the love and money that his parents gave him. However, this didn't stop him from
Wait, this
indulging
was
in his own lavish lifestyle too. And despite
Henry?
no income, he continued to eat good food and buy himself many expensive outfits.
Oh,
To add
dude,
to
I know
this,
someone
Henry
like
was
this.
often described by others
It
as
makes me
practically
so
unpretentious.
upset.
He often looked down on other people, scoffing and abusing those who seemed to be of lower class or taste. Growing tired of the situation and wanting to have a life of their own, both Glory and Moon had long encouraged Henry to find a job so he could move out. However,
Okay.
with frequent pushback from their son, tension
Alright,
between
hopefully
the
this'll
man-child and his
work.
parents
Hopefully
started
this'll
to
work.
rise over
Let's
time.
look.
By the year 2013, arguments were
Oh,
frequently
no.
erupting in the households, and this was for very obvious reasons too. But short, Henry was an
Yeah,
absolute
like money,
douche, and his parents were
independence.
frustrated, but too giving all
I don't
the
know.
same. All of this came to a boiling point
How
in
do I-
February 2013 when another huge argument broke out, and this one was caused by a very strange request from Henry.
Oh,
He
thanks,
suggested that his
Streamlat or
parents would
Stream
sell their
Elements.
flats and split the money 3 ways, 1/3 going to him, 1/3 to his brother, and the other third to themselves. Now, obviously, the couple said no. They were reaching retirement soon and had their own plans to relax and kick back. They had grown fed up with this bullshit, and in this moment, they asked him
Sure.
to move out of the property. And as you can likely imagine, this went down like a ton of bricks with Henry. In response, he stormed out of the property, never to return again, and also cut all contact with his family.
I'm
It's
sure,
unknown
like,
what
they're
he
like,
staged during
good
this
fucking
time
riddance.
frame, but in the following weeks, he began to plot a very devious scheme. And this scheme would leave Hong Kong reeling with shock and horror. March 15th, 2013. It was during the early morning that police were scrambled to a family home in the suburbs of Hong Kong. Following a tip-off, they were keen to arrest a man in his late 20s who lived at the property. A chilling confession over a WhatsApp group chat had prompted this so-called tip. The confession described the actions of a man who had just murdered his own parents. And shortly after their first arrest, a second arrest was made too. If you hadn't guessed already, the two to be arrested this morning were Henry Chow and Angus Tsay. And as for the confession, it was from none other than
Why was
Henry
Angus
Tsay.
involved
With
then?
the
Wait, hold
concerning
on.
messages in mind, police proceeded to search the apartment.
Did he
Trying
just
not to
like
laugh at
Henry
the
was
names
like,
there,
hey
but located
Angus,
on
I'll
Fok
give
Chat Street in
you
Tai Kok Tsui,
give
the
you
property
stuff
belongs
or
to
like
his
I'll
friend
give you
Angus.
money or
And
whatever.
immediately after entering the home, they knew that something was very, very wrong. Bloodstains covered the floors and walls. Trash bags were found filled with cement and sand, and various weapons were spotted throughout the property, this including a saw and 7 knives. However, all of these terrifying clues were nothing compared to what they would find next. Inside the microwave, inspectors saw a thick layer of yellow grease. This was coupled with an overpowering smell of cooked meat.
Okay.
And after opening one of the trash bags, they realized what was cooking, as this bag was filled with severed human limbs. Before carrying on with our case today, we must first wind the clocks back to 2 months prior. And it's here that we find ourselves at the beginning of Henry's evil plan. After storming out of his parents' property, Henry failed to understand them.
That's
In his
lined up
mind,
nicely.
He was entitled to their estate, and he further believed that they were accountable for all of the failures in his life too. Henry believed that, following all of these arguments, too much had happened between them. Way too much emotional disparity existed now, and for that, they needed to die. This would be something that investigators later learned from him, but Henry believed that if he could resolve the emotional connection between him and his parents by killing them, he could finally be
Okay,
free.
that is not
It
how
was
you
at this
resolve
moment that
emotional
Henry
connection.
manipulated his friend Angus to help in his evil
I'm
scheme.
fighting with
Given
you.
his
I'll just
humble
kill
but
you.
easily
I'll
manipulated
fix
nature,
the
it wasn't actually
situation.
that difficult either. But just to make
How?
sure, he promised to kill Angus's mother should he deny his request. In the months leading up
Oh,
to this
we
fateful
threatened
day,
him?
Henry made several purchases. This included
Oh,
almost
poor
a dozen
Angus then.
knives, a microwave,
He was
a
being
cooker,
blackmailed
and of
though.
course,
Does
two
that
new
like
fridges. And what he planned for his
count?
parents on March the 1st was a horror beyond all comprehension.
Was he planning on eating them? I'm wondering.
6 days had passed, and Henry's older brother was beginning to grow concerned. He hadn't heard from his parents in almost a week now, which was very unusual. Henry tried to reassure his brother. Perhaps Glory and Moon had simply gone on holiday to China, but Hui Ying was rather skeptical about this idea. The situation seemed too strange, and so, with this in mind, he therefore reported their disappearance to the police. As the authorities began their investigation, they found no evidence of them ever departing the city, which did nothing but raise
I actually
further
want to
doubts.
ask everyone, what is too long for you to kind of like, okay, that's suspicious for someone that you know, for like your parents, for I guess it's just that really depends on how often you talk to them or how often they like, come to you. But it's like to me, it makes me wonder because as an independent adult mm, who does not live with their parents, for example, don't spill. For an independent person who does not live with their parents, I think it would take me like 2 weeks for me to be like, I haven't heard from my parents in a while. Because we live such separate lives, you know? I don't usually see my parents that often, or talk to them that often. It's not that there's anything wrong with our relationship. It's just that we just hold very different lives and we have different um I do different things. I think though my mom specifically, she sees my sister a lot for family reasons, stuff like that. Um, so if my sister ever came to me like, "Hey, have you talked to mom in I don't know, like within the last 3 days? I've been trying to contact her." I think then I would be worried. But if it were just me and that circumstance didn't actually exist, I don't think I would be able to. It would take me like several weeks for me to even realize that something was something fishy was happening. Oh, I put this one right in between. So unfortunate. But, move over. Over. There we go. But yeah, I think it would take me a while for me to even realize something fishy was going on. But I wonder because I know some, you know, if you live with your parents or something, it would take you, I don't know, like a day, maybe a couple hours to be like, okay, they're not where they are. Maybe I should. But I don't have that routine with other than with my sister. So just curious. Yes. All right, here we go.
Brows. Something seemed to be very wrong. As a result, the brothers created missing persons campaigns on social media, pleading for any information
He
on their
actually
whereabouts. It was
like
noted that the
tried to
last
help,
time
I
they were
guess.
seen was
Like
around March
pretend.
the 1st, near
It's
Langham
fucked up.
Place in Mongkok. Henry would even reach out to Apple Daily, where he made a public appeal for help. However, none of these campaigns were successful in finding Moon or Glory, and 9 days later, on March the 15th, the reason for their silence became all too clear. Officers searching the flat found themselves in the middle of a nightmarish scene. A bin bag that they had just searched contained multiple human limbs. The microwave was covered with human grease. And perhaps the
Ew.
strangest part
Oh
to
my
all
God.
of this, but more than 600 styrofoam lunchboxes were found in the apartment.
No.
All of them contained the salted and cooked meat of Glory and Moon. And upon
That's
searching
so
their fridges,
fucked.
both of their heads were found within. A notepad was discovered underneath Angus's mattress. Inside, the pages detailed messy notes on how to dispose of their bodies.
Oh my
And a
God.
shopping list of the items that were required.
Wait, so
The
was
books
he
also
selling
highlighted
it?
that their bones were to be covered in sand and cement before eventually being thrown into the sea. And as for the unaccounted body parts, well, it is speculated that they had been cooked and then eaten. Moving into
By
the legal
who?
proceedings
By
of this
who?
case,
Did he
and
eat
as you
them?
can likely imagine,
Only, or did
both
other
Henry
people
and
eat
Angus were held in
them?
custody until their trials began. This was
I
scheduled
wanna
for August
know.
of 2014, but would have to be restarted in February 2015 after 2 jury members were forced to drop out.
Like, it's
During
different.
this
Okay,
trial,
okay. It is different, okay, when you yourself eat human meat knowing it's your parents, right? I think it's very different versus if you serve it to other people and they unknowingly eat it, right? That- Like, that's so gross. I think it's totally gross. But did he do it on, like, he end up eating it himself? Did I just miss that? Did I just mishear because I was distracted? Oh my god. I wish there were more people here listening so I could actually know the answer. I'm not going back. But yeah, I. Ugh. Oh, blah, blah, blah. All right.
psychologists attempted to shed light on the troubled workings of Henry's mind. It was highlighted that, in the month leading up to the murders, he had repeatedly been listening to Vers la Flamme to psych himself up. One psychologist
Vers la
explained
Flamme.
that his actions were heavily
Vers la
influenced
Flamme?
by this music. Citing, the music intensified the images of fire and flame in his mind. He believed that the world was going to end, and he could not get away from it. One of the most interesting things about covering international cases is seeing how the justice system varies between countries. And in this
True.
instance, I don't think this sort of bullshit would stand up in the
You know
Western
what?
court.
Okay. So I'm gonna pause one more time. That actually reminds me of the previous case, right? Remember that the other girl, for killing the older guy, she only got 15 years in jail for killing him, right? Just straight up murder, right? It makes me think, just because he just brought up something very important, right? The legal system is different in different countries. Maybe because the murder happened in Spain, maybe in Spain the legal system is different, and that's the reason why she only got 15 years. Maybe. I don't know. But let's hear about the legal system in Hong Kong. Hold on. Go back a little bit. Mr. Coffee House crime.
Interesting things about covering international cases is seeing how the justice system varies between countries. And
But
in
this is crazy,
instance, I
honestly.
don't think this sort of bullshit would stand up in a Western court.
It
Anyway,
wouldn't.
in a much more credible manner, psychologists also claimed that Henry was suffering from bipolar disorder and OCD. Now, in my mind, these things are much more influential to his case and the verdict.
I
At
agree.
least more influential
I mean,
than
that's
type
the
of
reason
music
why
he's
I
listening to.
tried
However, after a
talking
second
about mental
psychological
health,
examination,
you
both of
know,
these
in
things were
Hong
ruled
Kong.
out, and instead they were replaced with a personality disorder and extreme narcissism. Henry would eventually confess that, had he gotten away with his murderous actions, both he and Angus would have fled to mainland China to embark on a killing spree. Apparently,
What?
they were planning to assault and kill prostitutes or random women. Both men had two very different
Okay,
versions of events when it came to the murders of Glory and Moon. True to his form, Henry
Just
never took full
randomly,
responsibility for
I
his
decided to go
actions,
on a
and
killing
instead,
spree
he
on
tried to
random
place some of
women.
the blame on Angus. He further claimed that, after he lured his parents to the flat, Angus slit Moon's throat, while Henry stabbed his father in the back of the neck before also cutting his throat.
Oh my
Henry
God,
also
that's
claimed that he
brutal.
injured his leg
That's-
during their murders, therefore requiring stitches. This left Angus with the bodies while he sought medical help. Upon returning to the flat, Henry
I
claimed
do
that
that.
Angus had already dismembered and butchered his parents' bodies, therefore absolving Henry of any blame when it came to
Fast, I
manipulation. To add
guess.
to this, he even attempted to frame his friend by placing his notebook under his bed. However, handwriting analysis would eventually confirm that Henry was in fact the author. However, Angus's story was very different to Henry's version of events. You see,
Well, first
Angus
off, he said
claimed
that he was
Henry must have killed his
blackmailed.
parents way before he arrived at the apartment.
Oh.
Apparently, Angus was out of the flat until March the 4th, which would have been 3 days after the fact. He further claimed that he was terrified for his mother's life after Henry threatened to kill her.
Yeah, he
And
said
was the
that
reason
he
agreed to
blackmailed
dispose of the bodies.
her.
Now, of course,
Or he
this
blackmailed
is all
him.
still very gravely illegal, but Angus insisted that he had no part in actually murdering Glory or Moon. Anyway, it seems that both physical evidence and the testimonies available were enough to persuade the judge and jury in Angus's favour. A major contributing factor to their decision was the large gap in IQ between the two men, as well as Angus's glowing character testimony from both friends and family. This was in stark contrast to Henry, who the judge described as a narcissist who was preoccupied with fantasies for success.
Well, I mean, that's true though, right? So, like, how should I say this? If this guy has a very low IQ and he's known to be manipulated easily, right? It's not surprising, right, that you give this guy a lighter sentence because you could be like, okay, he was being manipulated by this mastermind who obviously is smarter because of higher IQ. I mean, I guess I suppose it depends on how you how much you put into IQ if you find that valuable to begin with. But I think there's some when there's such a disparity between IQs like that, I think that there is a huge difference. Because somebody who's at like what I think he said Henry is at I'm trying to point to the picture. There we go. Henry he's at 160 IQ and then Angus was at like 80, 86 or 82 or something in his 80s. That's a huge disparity. That's nearly, I would say, like double. So if that's the case, like there has to be a difference. So, all right, anyway, back to it.
Commented that he had no feelings for other people, and brushed off Henry's claims that the murders were a snap decision in the heat of an emotional moment. The judge also highlighted their crime was greatly premeditated, and their planning was extensive. Their preparation gathered pace in January and February, and on March
I don't think
1st
Angus
last
had
year,
anything
they
to
carried
do
out
with
the
it.
killings as they had planned. Text messages sent by Henry to his friends further weighed into his
I don't believe that
overwhelming
Angus
guilt.
was
In
blackmailed
these
though.
messages, he claimed that he was a psychopath. I cannot empathize with the normal person's pain because of the experience of my childhood and adolescence. My process of emotion is very different from a normal person. On March the 20th, 2015, a verdict was finally reached.
I want to know what kind
Henry
of
Chow was found guilty of the double murder of his parents, whereas
what kind
Angus
of
Sim
childhood.
was found not guilty. Both men were separately found
Nice.
guilty of preventing the lawful burial of a body, and both received separate sentences because of this. Henry Chow was sentenced to life in prison, plus an additional 9 years and 4 months. This was very different to Angus's, who was sentenced to 1 year for the prevention of the lawful burial of a body. Interesting side note here, but Angus had already served 2 years in prison while awaiting his trial, and was therefore way overdue his release. He was therefore allowed back into the real world immediately. As for Henry, the judge's closing statement was, "People may wonder why you did this. The fact that there is no obvious answer is what makes you so dangerous," which is quite true in my opinion. There was no plausible reason to kill his own mother and father. Henry is a selfish monster through and through, and now he must pay for his actions for the rest of his life. Glory and Moon wanted nothing more than to see their own son grow up to be a successful and happy man. But instead, they had to witness Henry make one poor decision after another, despite all their guidance and advice. For that, I can fully see why they were disappointed. Whilst there is nothing wrong with the aim of being content through a simple life, Henry made a huge mistake in believing it was okay to take advantage of his own parents. Even worse, he saw them as expendable objects,
He
right
sure
to the
did.
point of termination.
That was very like parasitic.
It's a
He's
bit of a
very
shit story,
parasitic.
really. I think I feel most sorry for Henry's brother, as now he must live the rest of his life without his parents.
And he
Although
lost a
Henry was the
brother,
one that took them away.
though.
I hope that
No,
he's found
like
peace after these horrific events.
I'm
And
pretty sure
as for
he's like,
Angus, I hope
I
he's
don't have a
managed to stay
brother,
out of
but I
trouble.
did have
Anyway, folks,
parents.
I think that's
You
all I
know,
can stomach for
I
this
think I would
Tuesday, so
also
I'm going to wrap this one up. I
kind
do
of
hope that you found it interesting,
disown
even
him,
though there
not
wasn't
even
much more
associate.
available. So please tell me, what do you think about this case?
I'm gonna move
Do you
this
think
one
that the
up.
right verdict was reached? And do you think that Angus was actually manipulated? Please do share your thoughts in the comments section down below, as I really do love
I
reading
don't know
your
if he was
opinions
in
and seeing what the general
it.
consensus is. Thank you
I
once again for
think
joining me here on Coffee House Crime. I really do appreciate you watching my videos. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It really does help me out. I also have a Patreon if you want early access, exclusive content, and much, much more. And
I think that Angus wasn't manipulated. I think okay, I think he was manipulated in a way where he was probably told by Henry, "Hey, like um maybe I'm going to rob, I think I'm going to rob these old people, whatever." He wasn't told the whole thing about, "Hey, I'm going to kill." And then he got there and was like, what the fuck is happening? Like he probably thought, "Hey, this was going to be some petty crime and maybe I'll get some money," because from what I know, that woman, I just remember like that the woman that he had really bad, was it romantic luck, one could say. She apparently stole all his money. So like he was probably not doing well financially. When it comes to crimes like this, desperation sometimes is pretty common. And um if somebody is desperate, they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll rob these people." Sure. But, robbing somebody is very different from deciding to kill them and then cut their bodies up, dismember them, and then make them into barbecue pork. Like those are very different um motives, and I think that was definitely a Henry thing, cuz you know what they say? They say crime of passion, right? They say, "Oh, this is a crime of um that was full of passion. It was full of anger or full of emotion." Angus didn't know those people. He didn't know Henry's parents. So like, what motive would he have had other than being like, I guess, crazy? But I don't think they said that he was crazy. What motive would he have had to kill Henry's parents that, I guess, severely? Wouldn't really have any, right? So that's my opinion. That's my opinion. How I see it. All right. Let's move to another one. Let's try. Let's just try JCS, right? JCS, criminal psychology. Okay, I've seen most of these. Let's try this thing. Oh yeah, the Legend of Jeff. I don't know if anybody's heard of this guy, but actually, I've heard he was going through withdrawals, like like drug withdrawals, but he still was able to defend himself from investigators. Ended up going free, so that was really cool. Let's try this one: the interrogation of Stephanie Lazarus.
The detectives created a ruse, inviting
There we
Stephanie
go.
to come in and advise them on a case involving stolen art.
Take
Knowing they were
some
dealing with
tea.
one of their own, they rehearsed and prepared for the interview more than anything they had done before. Their plan of attack was to keep the
Okay.
conversation as casual as possible for as long as possible, and carefully waited for the key moments to initiate the confrontation.
Stephanie, I don't know if you know my partner.
Hey,
great.
Hi.
Stuart, nice to
Yeah,
meet
see
you.
you guys.
How's it going?
Good.
Milling around. Well, have a seat. I don't want to talk about this in the squadron because I don't know who people are listening.
true,
And if
that's
we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else is
sure, no
doing.
problem.
Okay.
The first thing the detectives do is set up a compatible tone with the suspect. She has just stepped foot inside an interrogation room, and the detectives negate the negative implications of such an environment through a friendly disposition. Consultative meetings, such as seeking advice over an art theft, can take place anywhere, and the last place detectives would choose to spend more time in would be an interrogation room. The reason they give the suspect for meeting in such an unusual location is to not spread rumors or innuendo. Yet the real reason is that all firearms have to be checked in before entering the area, and they needed the suspect to give up her gun without alerting suspicion.
But,
She had a gun, and they were just like, we're just gonna get rid of that for you.
It's a new case, and it's reviewing
Please
the
don't
case.
shoot us.
There's some notes to see
That would be scary, though.
your name being mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Do you know John?
That's a
Rudin?
suicide
Try
mission
and
right there, though.
Imagine for one moment that you savagely murdered a love rival in a jealous rage. Over 2 decades had passed.
A
since
love
the act.
rival?
Then all of a sudden, you're brought to an interrogation room and sat directly
love
opposite
rival?
2 senior investigators who bring up the name of the man you committed first-degree homicide for.
John Rutten?
Rutten.
The investigators already knew how to say John Rutten's name correctly. The mispronunciation was a simple strategy to see how the suspect would react. Setting aside the element of the murder, John Rutten was the second longest relationship
That's smart,
in
though.
Stephanie's life, and a psychiatrist later stated that this pause was 4 times as long as it
Like
should have.
asking
She
and
was
being
already
like saying it
deceptive by
incorrectly on
acting as if
purpose.
She hadn't thought about that name for so long, giving reason for her prolonged reflection, when in reality,
Here's
the name
an
John Rutten
an
was
update.
engraved.
Here's an update. Here's an update. Here it is. I'm trying to get it. There we go. See? It's cool so far. You know, the lighting in my room sucks ass. I actually considered just using the natural lighting, but I started at 7, and seeing as that I started at 7, we only have light until maybe 8 o'clock, so about this time, and at this point, it was just gonna go and fade anyway. So anyway, I am stuck with the weird hue of this light, unfortunately. All right, and we are together. We're together, stuck in the weird hue of this light. All right.
In her memory, and even when slightly mispronounced, it would have most likely taken milliseconds for her to realize exactly who the detectives were referring to.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
You went to
I was
school
at
with
school
him?
in, let's see, went to UCLA in 19...
Are you not gonna say
started and,
that you dated him? I'm gonna include that information.
She says she met him in the dorms, yet left out the fact that they had dated for 4 years and went
Yeah.
on numerous holidays together. Even though she wasn't asked directly, a truthful subject would most often volunteer this information without
Yeah,
having to be asked for it.
I
Were you guys
was
friends,
dating.
close friends,
Yeah,
or-
we're very close friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, what's
Very
it all about?
close friends, huh?
Regarding, it's a case
Very
we're working on
close.
that involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we good friends, lived in the dorms I lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah,
Or- oh, okay.
yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or
Yeah, we were good friends.
yeah? Was there ever any
Oh my
relationship
God.
or anything that developed between you guys?
Are you gonna fucking...
We dated,
Now you're gonna say that. Now you're gonna say it.
what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
It's unfortunate that Stephanie's face wasn't captured at this moment, because she would have no doubt been immediately struck by the psychological reaction known as fight or flight. Her brain would have just triggered the influx of a specific cocktail of hormones in order to prepare her to either
She's
stay
like,
and
"Oh,
deal with the
fuck."
threat or try to run away to safety. Stephanie chooses to fight.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Uh-huh. Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her. Geez.
The words gosh, God, gee are exclamatory remarks used to
Oh my
express
gosh,
surprise
no,
and
I
strong
fucked up.
emotion. You will see them used continuously
Come on.
throughout this interrogation, which is the
There we
suspect
go.
trying to
Ugh.
insinuate a vague memory due to
Alright,
a
I'm
lack
going
of
this way.
contemplation on the subject matter. She's trying to emit the impression that she would have had no reason to give any further thought to John or anything related to John since they stopped seeing each other over 2 decades ago.
You know,
Yeah. Well, let me see. Let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, what, are you guys, is this something?
As we know, Stephanie is a cop and has been for 25 years. She will be wise to the fact
Oh.
that acting oblivious to the unusual development of the situation will be a glaring red flag in the eyes
She
of the
was a
investigators.
cop.
It's been shown time and again on this channel. Guilty suspects
Sorry
will
if I
often try and act
missed
naive
that.
to a blatant confrontation as a means to avoiding it altogether, whereas truthful subjects will address the confrontation and either refute it or, if it's subtle,
Oh,
want
I need to
immediate
stretch out my back.
clarification and transparency as to what was being insinuated.
Okay.
I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art and how
Well,
you guys are.
Here's
I mean,
Stephanie. Here's the situation. Is basically we
She's freaking
you know,
out, heavy
we knew that
breathing.
this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate.
The detective now subtly avoids the question altogether, but instead offers a deceptively reassuring response to the suspect. He makes a very sharp switch from the investigative subject matter to the previous topic of workplace rumors. He brings her focus back to the false perception of them being on her side. Stephanie had just asked what was going on, and now he essentially replies with, "We are your friends."
Oh,
Doing
nothing.
the same.
Absolutely.
Didn't
He's
want
trying to build
to come up
rapport.
to you at your desk and ask
So
those
she
kinds
can
of questions
relax a
or do
little.
anything. You know how up there people.
Well,
can
she
see
probably
what's going on if
knows.
You go into an interview room, or people are in there getting
oh, that's
supplies.
okay. I
and
mean,
so we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality
Okay.
to talk about this because we thought it might be, something, you're married.
Oh,
to
she's
someone
chilling,
else,
she's
obviously,
chilling.
and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things. in
She's
that
back
setting
to
with
it.
someone. We don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff
I
to
mean,
start.
that's fine. I mean,
This
So
guy
we
saved
did
it. This
this
guy
as-
actually
as a
saved
means
it.
to try and speak to you in
Okay,
just
I mean,
a
I
confidential
just-
place where where your business isn't out there.
He
for
literally
people and
MVP'd
for your
this.
division to know
Holy
about.
shit.
Whether it
Play
be
the game.
shock or the total reluctance to accept the situation at hand, Stephanie warily accepts the reassuring response without further inquiry into her initial challenge. She
Yeah,
instead
she
falls
literally
back
was just
into
like,
her agenda
okay.
of having a foggy memory with
I think
regard to the
she
incriminating contents.
needed it.
no, God, that's been a million years ago. I mean, what year is it now?
Million years ago?
2009? I mean, I
Really,
graduated in
Stephanie?
82.
Oh,
82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you. Roughly, how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean,
Notice how she now goes on to over-explain things that don't require an explanation and weren't even inquired about. It's a clear-cut indication of hyperarousal and a derivative of TMT. also known as
Hyperarousal?
terror management theory. The suspect will go off on
Um,
unrelated tangents as means for gaining momentary relief. Going into detail about trivial things affords her a brief escape from the terrifying reality eventuating before her. This is a very common occurrence in interrogations where the suspect is facing serious charges, and psychiatrists believe it to be a subconscious coping mechanism.
I started school there in 78.
Mhm.
I started UCLA in 1978.
Mhm.
I graduated in 82.
Hmm.
I don't even remember what year he graduated.
She's just
He
like
was
going
in
off
early
him and something
40s.
else.
Okay.
I think
Actual.
he was a little bit older than I was. I mean, I can't remember if he was born. Let's see, I'm born
Uh-oh.
in 1960.
No, no, no,
I
no.
don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents. I knew his sister. His brother went to Northridge.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, she was like,
Spent the night at my house before.
who?
He had spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before. I don't.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't.
How many years ago was that
geez,
again?
Trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband in.
She's married? Oh, I thought she was single. That's why she like took revenge or something. I don't
met
know.
Scott when I was
No
teaching
idea.
there up in Oregon.
Maybe
Well,
she was like helping him.
we had long stopped.
She
seeing
doesn't want to be in a
dating
relation, or he doesn't
before
want
that.
So you haven't
be in the
talked to him for a
relationship
long
again.
time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92 maybe, April of 92.
Is that right?
It was,
Scott being your husband.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I was teaching Dare. Let's see, what year is this?
She was teaching Dare. Was murder included?
1996. I
No
think I met
murder,
Scott in
kids.
92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you haven't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice.
Uh-huh.
Before
I wonder if he
we got married.
helped. Helping him, maybe. She was helping
I
him.
moved to see me in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with.
Was there an
people
earthquake?
from
I was born. I was.
on the 10th floor.
I was too young. I was too young to know.
There's
Okay. Look at this row. This row is
about
pretty
3 or
good,
4
actually.
people I keep in
Getting
contact
better at
with.
it.
There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
Mm-hmm.
And who are those people?
Oh, geez. Diana Basta. People I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's this all about? I mean,
Well, let me ask you.
The suspect challenges the detectives for the second time, and once again, the question is avoided, but this time in a more confrontational manner, as the topic is maintained with no reassurance afforded. The detectives are ramping up the pressure in a very subtle, yet highly effective manner.
What ended the relationship between you and John?
Completely ignored the question.
It was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated. We did things. I played sports in college. He played basketball. His brother played basketball. We just, it just.
Sure,
didn't
if I
work
can
out.
put this
I don't know
here,
what to tell
be
you.
better.
Like, I went out with other guys, saw other guys. I went on lots of vacations.
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of,
I
problems?
mean,
Is it friendly, not friendly?
no,
I kind of want to
it's
know
not
how
friendly.
people
I mean,
feel.
friendly.
I feel like if
I
you
know
split
that
with somebody, you have to
we
stop
went
being
to
friends with
Hawaii,
them. No?
At one point, yeah. I mean,
And you were
It's-
saying that
it's 2009 now.
had you ever met his wife?
I may
What's this?
have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or?
I have hiccups.
Or what
Oh
she
no.
did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
The suspect was just asked 3 consecutive questions regarding the victim. She was supposedly in a reflective state during all 3 of the questions, yet her facial expression completely changed for the 3rd one. This is because she was pretending to be in a state of reflection for the first 2 questions, as she already knew the answers, whereas for the 3rd question, she actually was in a state of reflection and was genuinely searching her memory for the correct response.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or?
The 3rd question is about to be posed, and her focus is about to switch from pretending to be thinking to actually thinking.
Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. Man, I can't even remember how he said he met her. I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, did not go to their wedding. Couldn't even tell you what year he got married. I mean, it's been a million years ago.
Okay.
Again, I mean.
Rose, all good.
I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
You wouldn't need to be an expert in body language to recognize the unmitigated terror emanating from the suspect's face at this moment. She had just verbalized the victim's tragic demise for the first time in most likely over 2 decades.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it.
Uh-oh.
I
I fucked
think I
up.
spoke to another friend of his about it.
Okay.
Um,
And how did you
Recoverable,
first know about it?
recoverable.
Gee,
Good.
someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work.
Woohoo, excellent.
Um,
Okay. I
I
fixed
think
it.
at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his.
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard
She
about
was a
it
cop
with the
when the
flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick, Mike. Mm, um, um, you know,
But being that you're kind of used to see John, was it everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
um,
8 separate witnesses testified that Stephanie had confronted Sherry at the hospital she worked at, while the two of them were reportedly in an intimate relationship with John. The confrontation was said to
Two?
have been highly
Wait.
aggressive, and Stephanie had to be escorted off the premises by security. Reports stated that Stephanie was by far the more combative and even made threats against Sherry's life.
I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment. Geez, how many years ago was that? I don't even know what year she, got killed.
When were
Where was
they?
his apartment?
Notice her passive disposition.
So
as
he
she gives
was
the following truthful
dating
response.
her still when
Roscoe?
he
Okay.
Yeah, Roscoe and
married Sherry?
east or west of DeSoto. Either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved?
Um,
After, did he move after he got married, or do you know? Or
Now notice how her disposition switches from passive to frantic as she once again pretends to have a vague memory.
I'm sure he did.
did you know where he was
okay,
living? Or?
I'm back to
Somewhere in the valley.
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No, never.
No.
this
went out
row
to
is almost
get together
done.
dinners,
I
anything of that nature?
no.
Wait,
Like
so
I said,
they
his sister
she met
came
up
over.
with them?
His sister had come to my place. I knew his brother because his brother played basketball at Northridge. In fact, I was just coming across some pictures that I had just scanned from.
Okay, that's
I
good.
take a lot of photos,
Uh-huh.
like 10,000, and I just
Shit
did a
ton of
search and
photos,
scanned
actually.
everything.
Okay.
And after his wife died, did you talk to him again or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Talked to him.
but I thought she
probably
was
him,
married. She's married to another man,
probably
isn't
some
she?
other friends. You know.
Unless she's like having an affair with
talked to
him.
him.
Yeah.
But you're not sure where he moved to after he got married.
No idea. I mean,
Never went over to visit him or.
I don't think.
meet
I
his
mean, I
wife
don't
or-
think so. I mean,
That's good.
I don't know.
That looks
I mean, I
even.
don't think I did.
Update,
I
update,
mean, I know he lived
update,
on Roscoe for a long, long time.
update. Going well.
You're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then
This is what I was
got a
working
problem
on,
with,
right?
with that. Okay.
Ooh, all right.
You know,
Continuing.
If you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, "Hey, I'm a suspect." Well, now I got a problem with now you're accusing me of this. Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying.
Dude, the guy right here
I
always
mean,
like
is there
trying to
lawyers
gather
accusing me of-
rapport.
You know,
You don't have to. I mean,
I'm
you're
just-
here of your own free will. I mean,
No,
This
you-
guy
I
is
know,
actually
but-
really good.
You're not under arrest. You can walk out.
You
Whenever
can leave
feel
whenever
like.
you like.
Because he's
Well,
like
But
gaining
I'm
rapport
trying
with
to
her
get
and
back on
keeping
the-
her. He's like keeping her in the interrogation room when she could just walk out right now. But they're gathering more information because she thinks that they're on her side because he's like, no, 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 no. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Like, just stay. And gathering more info. And like she's opening up and they could just use all the information against her instead of her being like, hey, I want to lawyer up right now. So, smart guy.
how I knew him,
Very good.
and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about. And I don't want to, get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay,
We understand.
I mean, how would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No,
Oh my
No, it's
gosh.
your choice. I
Well,
mean, you're free to go whenever you want.
I
If-
don't
if
think
this
that
makes you
they
uncomfortable, you
murdered
wanna-
anyone
Well,
in
now you
person.
say
I
you're
just
making me
realized, by the
uncomfortable.
way.
the thing is, I mean, detectives did what they could at that time on the crime scene. Okay, and the
I,
burglary thing we're talking about, that is an
gosh,
aspect of
jeez.
it. I go, but now we're looking at
I don't know where
everything
to
else
put
in the
this. I was gonna put this
Nobody was ever
against here,
linked
but I
to
don't
the
want to
case.
sticky.
I don't know that or not.
Okay. Now, what we'd like to do is, obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now,
Yeah, because
now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I
She
mean,
should if she was smart, but
because I know how this stuff works. Okay, don't get me wrong. You're right. I have been doing this a long time,
Yeah.
and I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds like there's you're selling these people saying I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
We know.
Okay, and now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
Now
but-
I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these cases, and you know it as well as I do, our job is to identify and eliminate
I
suspects.
can't believe this.
So if we ask you to the point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe. Because I know this.
what are you hiding then?
That's where we're at. Too.
If you know that you're
Right
innocent,
now,
right?
From looking at the evidence, it's it's possible we may have.
Because she's just like so angry,
We're gonna do what we can to try to put this thing together. And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why.
And,
That's just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
and it would be irresponsible on our part not to look at it.
I know. You guys have to do your job, and I guess I'm gonna have to contact somebody. So.
That's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I mean,
No.
I just can't believe it.
I mean, let's hope. You've been in the force for so long, right?
I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe
Dude, this guy, he's playing a nice, good
I'm
cop. I'm
shocked.
telling
I'm
you,
really
he's so
shocked
good.
that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Well,
That's.
okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
All right, all right, okay.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Stephanie, take care.
All right.
They're like, we got her, boys. Once the moment she. Cameras.
This is absolutely crazy.
Let's see, Stephanie.
This is insane.
Okay.
They're back? In minutes?
Give me 1 second.
Hmm.
Okay. Stephanie, you know you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes,
Oh my god.
You say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
yes,
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
All right.
Okay.
This
then.
is crazy. This is absolutely.
They just straight up just
I'm like in
arrested
shock.
her?
I'm totally in shock.
That's wild. They let her walk out too? That's crazy
We
too.
are back on the record in People versus Lazarus. Shortly before noon, the jury announced they have a verdict. We will take the verdict at this time.
People of the State of California versus Stephanie Eileen Lazarus. Case number BA 357423. We, the
Gosh.
jury, in the above entitled action,
If
find
I
the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus,
I
guilty
want
of the crime
ice
of
cream.
murder of Sherry Rasmussen in
Oh.
violation of Penal Code Section 187A.
That's her
as charged
court-
in count 1 of the
court reading.
information. We further find the murder was of the first degree.
Oh shit. You're screwed, lady.
Your Honor, I'm John Rutten. Thank you for the opportunity to speak during this hearing. There are really no words that can describe the loss of Sherry and the whole of this experience.
Okay, so he
But it
didn't
makes
know.
no
He
sense
didn't
to talk
ask.
very long. It suffices to say that the Rasmussen
Or
family, my family, and Stephanie's family have been thrust into a bizarre world of disbelief
that
and
was
indescribable
nice.
sadness.
He didn't have to include Stephanie's
Sherry
family, but
Rasmussen had a profound impact on so many people.
she was a nurse. I'm sure that
I
she
was
was very
proud that she
much
agreed to be my wife. It was impossible not to notice Sherry when she entered a room. To me, her physical
she
presence
probably
was
affected a
startling.
lot of people, you
I can
know.
clearly remember the first moment I laid eyes on her. Sherry Rasmussen was a physical presence, and my heart still races when I look at pictures of her. But Sherry was extraordinary, more for who she was than the way she looked. She was a hard worker, a consummate professional, a leader, a diplomat, forgiving, tough, and a kid at heart. Sherry's loss, the way she died, and the trial 25 years after her death has had a profound impact on many, many others. The effects are broad and span a generation, creating pain for those whose lives should have never been touched by this tragic event.
I want to know
Again,
how
words
and
are
why she
feeble
did it,
tools for
though.
describing these
I mean, I'm
impacts.
glad she's being
But
punished
there are
for
so
it,
many
but
moments and so very many tears. And the fact that Sherry's death occurred because she met and married me brings me to my knees.
Stephanie
oh,
Lazarus was sentenced to 27 years to life for the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. She is currently
oh, she
being
got life
held
for
inside
it.
the
That's
maximum
good.
security unit of the Central California Women's Facility.
Is that it?
Any other
JCS?
cars that stand out in your mind?
Yeah, that was weird. that was dirty. That was so dirty of them. I did not need to put that clip in. All right. That was a fun one. That was a good one. I'm sad that they didn't talk about how she did it because I would have like how and why. Kind of just know that she did, you know. She did it because I guess she was jealous of her. I guess I don't know. Was he two timing or was it in her head? Because like if it was just in her head and she was like, "John's mine," and she just like decided to, even though he had completely married someone else at that point, decided to do it anyway. Like that's different versus oh he was two timing. I hope I'm not like sorry. I hope I'm not like whenever I do this set my arm on the table that the camera doesn't shake. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna make you guys feel really sick. All right. Um, let me see what up. Let me see what people are up to. People are not up to anything. We can do another one. I was thinking, I was like, maybe I should stream some Final Fantasy for everyone. Over, but honestly, I don't think that. All right, all right, all right. Let's move to the next one. I don't remember what this one was about. I do remember her face though. I do remember this guy though. This guy. Um, give me 1 second. Let's take a break. Hungry. I'm gonna grab something. So let me go. Something to eat. Kind of hungry. Not gonna lie. So give me a sec. I will be back. Um, we'll continue. We'll do one more video. We'll do one more. Okay. Yeah. I like the sun. Ooh. Yeah, turn that down though. You guys okay with that? Alright, okay. I will be right back. 1 second. Okay. Alright. Me. Lower this. And, oh, that's a little low for you, huh? Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, since you're here, it's doing well. Have you been keeping up? Have you been seeing what I've been making so far? Oh, it's okay. I'm actually talking to your mom right now. She sent me pictures of you sitting on the bench and you look so fucking dead. You look dead as fuck. Am I too loud, by the way? Hold on. Let me lower me. I think this is good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Okay. What game am I playing? I'm not playing a game. Okay, let me show you what I've got. Hold on. So, there we go. I'm gonna pause. All right, welcome. So this is a new series. It's called Crimes and Crafting. We're gonna listen to a true crime a video, true crime video, and we're gonna do some crafting at the same time. Talk about it. Yes, I have the strawberries. Yes, I'm using a bowl that I myself potted. I made the bowl. Very cute. Right? And then I'm probably not going to eat all the strawberries, but I wanted to at least pile it on so they're cute. Oh, and also, well, you recognize this outline, but I am eating the anniversary cake that I made. Did you eat some more anniversary cake? Or any did you eat your food? I'm sorry to hurt that. Thank you. Did you get an extra for lunch? Let me put some more music. Nice, nice. We have a new follower, and two friends stopped by. So I was very happy. Unfortunately, I totally forgot I still had emotes only on. So I couldn't talk to them earlier. Let me show you what I've got so far. I've been just working with black. Nice, right? So far. I'm working on this end. And I want to just finish that row. That's what I'm working on. Very cool. Hello, Bumble. I'm gonna close the door. Do you want some strawberries? Oh, yeah. He's sitting and licking his lips. All right, hold on. Give him a straw. Oh. Wait. Mm. Okay. You didn't even chew it at all. You probably didn't even taste it. Mm. All right. Enough. I can eat and watch some true crime. So, oops. Not mean to open that. All right, let's see. Let's do. That's right, Casey. I don't know what this case is, but I totally forgot about it. Let's go.
Who 2-year-old Kaylee Anthony was. The majority will know that she sadly passed away at some point between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. on June 16, 2008. Her death is undoubtedly the most heartbreaking part of this story, and we only need a single word to epitomize her short life. Tragic. But the primary subject of this video is not about the life nor the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. It is in fact about the psychological constitution of her mother, 22-year-old Casey Marie Anthony. So rather than tragic, you'll find the words disturbing and perplexing to be far better suited to the theme of this video. One of the many reasons this case is exceptional is how the present day's topic of discussion has little to do with the actual occurrences of the crime, but in fact the subsequent developments that follow.
Uh-oh.
People
A
are
bumble
no longer
here.
talking about how or even why Kaylee Anthony passed
And my
away.
cake, I can't
They
believe
are
it.
instead talking about the manner in which a mother responded to her daughter's death. Given all the acquired information we now have, even if we afford this person the most morally acceptable possibility of what occurred, her manner of conduct was still unimaginably cold-blooded. This is driven home by the fact she was evaluated by 2 clinical psychologists.
I actually
during her
remember
time in
this one.
custody, and
She
not
was
a
fucking
single
insane.
abnormality was discovered with relation
Actual
to her
insanity.
psychological state. In other words,
Another
there were no
saber?
signs of mental
I mean,
illness
bumble
whatsoever.
here.
And this makes the character study of Casey Anthony just as fascinating as it is terrifying. A human being's state of mind is something most accurately assessed with the full capacity of hindsight. So before we evaluate our first segment of raw footage, here's a quick rundown of each of the essential moments that will give you a broader understanding of what we're actually dealing with. On the 15th of July, 2008, Orlando police received a call from Cindy Anthony, the grandmother of the victim.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff. I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month.
A month?
I'm talking about a 3-year-old little girl. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her. Your daughter admitted that the baby is where? But the babysitter took her a month ago. My daughter's been looking for her. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. She just admitted
Oh my God.
that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Name?
Kaylee. C-A-Y-L-E-E. Anthony. Kaylee Anthony? Yes. How long has she been missing for? I have not seen her since the 7th
Tea time.
of June. Is your daughter there? Yes. Can I speak with her? She's downstairs. They want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello? Hello?
You don't want to talk to the police about your missing daughter? Kind of odd, huh?
For the last 31 days. And you know who has her? I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute. Who has her? Do you have a name? Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
To give some context to this bizarre phone call, Casey Anthony had left the family home with her daughter a month earlier, stating that she had a work assignment in Tampa and would be traveling the entire time. Kaylee's grandparents would ask repeatedly over the following month to see, or at least speak to their granddaughter, but Casey claimed each and every time that she was too busy with work and that Kaylee was with a nanny who went by the name Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, or Zanny for short. On July 15th, exactly 6 weeks after
Question though. Your parents are trying to see your granddaughter, right? And you're going to be leaving out of town for work. Let's say this is true, right? And you're paying for a nanny. FYI, nannies are not, they're not cheap. Okay? They're expensive. And you're working hard. More than likely, if you were to like, oh, my mom or my parents are so into my granddaughter, they want to take care of them and you trust them, right? They seem like well-adjusted people. I guess I'm basing this upon a 911 call, but at least she's freaking out. Like the mother, Casey, doesn't seem to be freaking out. Why would you not just give your granddaughter to them while you're traveling for work? Right? Why would you have a nanny take care of her? I guess like you want to have independence or whatever, but I mean, I don't know. That's the extent of what I can think of as to why you wouldn't take advantage of that, or not even take advantage of that. Like, use that resource. But anyway, so that's already kind of suspicious, in my opinion. I don't know. It's like, all right.
After Kaylee was last seen by
What are you doing, Outlined? What are you doing?
Anthony received a phone call that the family car was at the impound lot.
You're just
This
chilling.
immediately
You're just listening to
alerted
my
suspicion,
stream.
as it was the same car Casey had supposedly been traveling with for work.
Thank you for coming here, by the way.
Turned into panic
Oh, I
once they
appreciate you.
picked up the vehicle, and George discovered a strong odor
Oh.
emanating from the trunk, one that he
Oh.
recognized from his years as a police officer, and found comparable to that of human decomposition.
Her dad was a former cop. This girl's fucked. She's so screwed. I'm actually gonna grab some more water. I have the kettle next to me, so I'm not gonna leave. All right. I finished that one piece of cake. It was good, but very, very heavy. It's kind of lukewarm, but I think I can steep it. I might be able to get a little bit out of this tea. Barely a little, but something. All right. I'm back to going back to crafting. Let's do that. All right.
Through contacting one of Casey's friends, her parents managed to track her down at her boyfriend's house in Orlando, where they were found smoking marijuana and watching TV. When inquired over the whereabouts of her daughter, Casey stated that she had been kidnapped 31 days before by the supposed babysitter. It was at that moment Cindy Anthony called 911.
911, what's your emergency? Who has her?
Oh.
Do you have a name? Her name
Did that upside down.
Fernandez Gonzalez. Who is that? Babysitter? She's been my nanny for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I know.
I'm looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid. I think the officers are here. The officers are there? Yes.
Now let's indulge in the world of fantasy for just a moment and pretend all of what Casey had just
Indulge
stated
in the
was true.
world
She had
of
indeed been
fantasy.
working, and her daughter was in fact kidnapped by the babysitter a month earlier. The immediate premise most would gather would be that Casey had no regard for her daughter whatsoever. In the 911
Right.
call, there was no urgency nor concern in her voice.
Like,
and rather
your
than
daughter is gone for
volunteering
31
information,
days, and you're
which most
like,
parents would do in a frantic manner,
yeah,
it had to
she's
be
been
acquired by the
gone.
dispatcher through repeated inquisition. All you have to do is compare Casey's dialogue to that of her mother's in the same phone call.
Yeah, her
One
mom
was
was like
indifferent, while the
freaking
other
out.
was distraught. Police would have picked up on this immediately. Even without the bizarre phone call, the circumstances alone would make Casey the prime suspect in her daughter's disappearance. She was immediately interviewed as a
Oh my
witness, which unbeknownst to her was the detective's first step in locking her into as many lies as possible.
The date right now is July 16, 2008. The time right now is 04:11 hours. I'm Detective Mellish with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I am with Casey Anthony, is that correct?
Yes.
Casey, you understand this is being recorded?
Yes.
You have any objection to that?
No.
All right. Casey, I got called here in reference to.
I'm gonna
missing
move
child.
these
You
carefully.
took Casey to a babysitter's house.
Yes.
And who was this babysitter?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Okay. How long had you known Zenaida?
Almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years Christmas this year.
And where did you meet her? Who did you meet her through?
Okay.
A mutual friend. His name is Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. I met him at Nickelodeon at Universal, and I met her through him. She was his son's nanny at the time.
Does Jeffrey still work at Universal?
No, he does not.
How long has it been since he left?
Oh no. Oh my gosh, I'm just ruining everything with this.
9, 10 months.
I just want to push these up a little because they're off center.
North Carolina for a short time, and moved down to Jacksonville within the last.
Okay, yeah, I did.
How would you
This one
characterize your relationship with Miss Anthony?
More or less acquaintances.
Weren't very good friends?
Okay.
Not very good friends.
Did you ever work at Universal Studios?
I did.
When did you work at Universal Studios?
Approximately 2002.
How long did you work there for?
1 year.
Did you ever work there at the same time that Casey Anthony worked there?
I don't think so.
You don't
Oh.
Never.
Never
Did you ever
worked.
introduce Casey Anthony to a woman by the name of Zenaida Gonzalez?
I did not.
Did you
What
ever
the
use Zenaida Gonzalez as a nanny?
No, sir.
Do you have any children?
No, sir.
He doesn't even have a kid?
In the Orlando area consistently since 2002?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever lived in Jacksonville?
No, sir.
Have you ever lived in North Carolina?
No, sir.
Did
Okay.
you see Casey Anthony in the month of June of 2008?
No, sir.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
About a week and a half ago.
Do you know a telephone number for him?
I can.
She doesn't know this man. Or rather, he doesn't know her at all.
So you met
He's just
Zenaida through
she's just
Jeffrey
making all of this up.
Yeah,
That's
so Zach
crazy.
Hopkins, I guess Zenaida used to watch over Zach?
Yes.
And when did she start watching over your child?
It's been within the last year and a half, 2 years that she started watching Kaylee.
How would you normally drop off, or how would you normally do the exchange with your child and Zenaida? Would you drop the child off? Would she meet you somewhere?
I would usually drop her off. For a few months, we would go over to Jeff's house. He lived over in Avalon Park.
And you would go to Jeff's house why?
To drop off Kaylee. That's where
Jeff's house? She would go to Jeff's house? No fucking way. He's like, I have not seen this. I don't know who the fuck this woman.
Go back to your statement. You dropped off Kaylee June 9th, and walk me through. You dropped her off to go to work?
Mhm.
Okay. Get off of work and go from there.
I got off of work, left Universal, driving back.
The thing is that she sounds so confident in what she's saying. She's like, this is facts. These are facts. But it's like she has it in her mind
I call Zenaida
so confidently.
It's out of service. I didn't really want to come home. I wasn't sure what I'd say about not knowing where Kaylee was.
Like, she's not stuttering. She's not thinking for a second. Like, she's just saying it.
Coming back so that I could go get her.
Like,
And
very
I ended up
ballsy.
Going to my boyfriend Anthony's house, who lives in Sutton Place.
Did you talk to Anthony about what happened with Kaylee?
No, I did not.
Have you talked to anyone about Kaylee, about your incident with Kaylee? Or the fact that
Outside of
she's missing?
a couple people, a couple mutual friends.
Who did you talk to about it?
I talked to Jeffrey Hopkins.
No, she did not. She's like, I don't know this woman.
Workers at Universal.
This is like,
She works. You still work at Universal?
Yes,
What do you do at Universal?
an event coordinator.
Okay. What is Juliet? What position is she? Where she works?
She's also an event coordinator. We work in the same department.
it sounds
Juliet
so
Lewis
real.
Doesn't exist. Casey had briefly worked at Universal,
Juliet
but hadn't been
Lewis.
employed there for over 2 years prior to this interview. And she wasn't an event coordinator. She stood behind a kiosk and sold photos of people after they had been on the Incredible Hulk ride.
Dude. Oh my god.
She in your SIM card?
Right after she
Some of the more recent numbers.
she was a photo person. Those are very different jobs, dude.
Has finished moving up to New York. She's subleasing her apartment.
So Juliet doesn't work at Universal anymore?
No, she does not.
What's
Yeah,
the
because
reason
Julia
you
doesn't
didn't
exist.
ask
Of course she
before
doesn't
last
work
week
there
for the
anymore.
record? What's the reason you didn't call the police before?
Okay.
I think part
Do
of
we
it was
continue
I
doing
felt like
black? I don't want to just keep doing one color, right?
Obviously, I couldn't, and I was scared that something would happen
could.
to her if I did notify the authorities or got the media involved.
I just keep doing black.
Fear
I think we
of
could
the
do
unknown,
more.
Fear of the potential of Kaylee getting hurt, of not seeing my daughter again.
Then why didn't you call the police?
I asked you this a few times and asked you before we went on tape, and I'll ask you again just to make sure we're clear. Is
I
there
mean to
anything
touch
about
them.
this story that you're telling me that is untrue, or is there anything that you want to change or divert from what you've already told me?
No, sir.
She's so confident. She's just like, it's the truth. But, like, all of it is crazy shit. Because, like, Jeff was like, I don't know this woman. Actual don't know her.
That people are going to look at you a wrong way?
No, sir.
And you're telling me that Zenaida took your child without your permission and hasn't returned her?
The last person that I've seen with my daughter, yes.
Is she Puerto Rican? Is she Dominican? Is she white?
She's mixed. She's black and Puerto Rican.
Is there any underlying cause to why Zenaida would have taken your child?
Nothing that...
She ever make any statements to you about...
Only how much she loves Kaylee and how great of a kid she is.
Honestly, I wish Zenaida... Okay.
His child is still with him?
His child is still with
We'll
him.
get there.
You said
We'll
Zenaida
get there.
had family up in New England, up in New York or
Yes,
something?
she has family down south. Her mother and her sister. Her brother's in New York. She's originally from New York. Pretty much grew up there, moved down here, went to the University of Florida.
Zenaida?
The nanny, doesn't exist. Casey never had a babysitter. Being the retrospective viewer, we have the benefit of knowing these are outright fabrications, and these meticulous details are a textbook sign of a pathological liar.
Okay, can I... Okay, this is the second time this has happened. I'm just gonna put it out there, okay? Why is it that there are so many fucking people who, when they pin it, they like make up somebody, or they pin it on somebody whenever they talk to cops? This is the second case that I watched today. Not today on the stream, but I watched one when I was like working today. I was working and I was listening to one. This is the second one where they literally were like, I'm gonna name this random Hispanic name and I'm gonna pin it on this person. And it's just like that person either doesn't exist or that person was just like chilling. And it's just like, dude, they were like, I don't even know who you are. This is the second case that this has happened. I don't remember what the other case was. Like, is this woman who masterminded killing her husband for some fucking reason, and literally she masterminded it, and she knew one of these guys that was Hispanic. He had nothing to do with the case, but she just name dropped him and was like, he did it for drug reasons. It's just like, dude. Dude. Oh my god. Oh, also, she name dropped another guy. I don't remember his name, but he was a black guy. And she was like, oh, he was there. But he actually was not. Like, he actually left. And the other witnesses who were like, yeah, he left actually. And she was like, no, it was him because it was somebody whose voice was gangster. And I was like, what the fucked up? You're a bitch. Anyway.
She speaks eloquently and naturally, as if her dialogue is a reflex response to the questions she's being asked.
She
In reality,
does.
each of these minor details are calculated and deliberately placed for the purpose of deception, and the nonchalant, easygoing tone she employs is used to camouflage anxiety. Casey has not only become accustomed to manipulation, she has become extremely skilled in how to use it effectively. It takes us to
She's
the concept of
crazy.
nurture and how it most likely had a significant impact on her current circumstances.
Actually,
if we
that-
go through what
that
we know
wax,
about Casey's
like,
domestic history, there are numerous occasions where she had gotten away with things that most would not, simply due to the fact that she was able to continuously lie without conscience. A prime example could be when she was 18 years old and stopped attending class midway through her senior year. She literally skipped the entire second half of her final year to go hang out with her older boyfriend, Her parents became suspicious on several occasions, yet each and every time, Casey had some whimsical excuse to which she was given the benefit of the doubt. Then, just days before graduation, her parents were informed by the school of her truancy and that she would not be graduating. When confronted,
Oh,
Casey's
shit.
excuse was that her timetable was mixed up by the school, causing her to miss classes through no fault of her own. This is obviously a completely baffling excuse that
Yeah.
no sane person would ever believe. Yet whether it be
It's
through
fucked up.
denial or an overprotective nature, Casey's parents not only took her at her word, but even shielded her from the
Cause she
consequences
sounds,
of her actions.
she
They
sounds
lied to
so
all her family
convincing.
friends that she graduated with honors, and even threw her an extravagant graduation party the day after.
Oh,
This is just
no.
one of the many occurrences where Casey faced no ramifications for
Yeah,
misconduct.
and then
It
now
seemed to give
she's,
her the belief that no matter what she did, as long as she could spin one lie after another, or at
Yeah.
least drag a lie out for as long as possible, everything would work itself out. The truth
no,
is that
not only that, but honestly, her parents, okay, not putting her parents like being the only thing that did it, because she herself should have stopped herself as well. But it doesn't help when your parents are basically encouraging you or being like, "Oh yeah, you should oh, oh no. She graduated. She graduated. It wasn't her. It was the stupid school. The school just fucked up. Excuse me. The school just fucked up and they just failed my daughter. My daughter did graduate. And it's just like now she thinks that as long as she lies, she'll get what she wants. And they're in a way enabling her. 100%. I feel that way.
everything did work itself out when she was dealing with her parents, and she evidently thought the same rules applied with regard to national law and a missing child's investigation.
Well,
After the initial
yeah,
statement we
because
just
like
heard, Casey was asked
depends.
if she could take
If
police
Casey
to all
looks at
places of interest.
the
She
law as
happily
like the same
obliged, and then
thing,
proceeded to lead
be
them
like,
to a
oh
multitude
yeah,
of
I
fake
can,
addresses
can
which
out
she had nothing to do with.
outsmart
She then
him,
took them to her
outlie
supposed office at Universal Studios and literally
her
led three senior
office.
investigators to the very end of the building, taking over 25 minutes to walk to, before she finally turned around, put her hands in her back pockets, laughed, and admitted that she didn't work there. Completely
Oh my
dumbfounded,
God.
the detectives placed her under arrest and took her to a conference room in the building for what was essentially an interrogation.
Oh my God.
This morning, I've gone to every address that you've told me. I came over here. I've already talked to all the employees. I found out all these names that you're giving me are people that either never worked here or have been fired here for a long time ago. Okay, so where we are right now is in a position that doesn't look very good for you, because obviously I know and you know that everything you told me is a lie. Correct?
Not everything that I've told you.
Pretty much everything that you've told me, including where Kaylee.
This investigator's pissed.
That I don't know where she is.
Sure you do.
It's a waste of time and resources.
Let me explain something. Looking at you, I know that everything that you've told me is a lie. I am very confident, just by having talked to you the short period of time, that you know where she is.
I legitimately have not seen my daughter in 5 weeks. I didn't let anything happen to her, except I trusted her with somebody that had been taking care of her, that had been taking good care of her, someone that she was comfortable with, that I was comfortable with.
What about Jeffy?
Dude, just if you didn't want her, just put her up for adoption or something.
10 months? How long?
It's been
Like,
at least 10 months.
you don't have to kill her.
He hasn't been an employee here since 2002.
She probably, if she was such a good kid, then she would have been an excellent family.
My question to you is, we're in this office.
Oh my God.
Our purpose in coming here was to do what?
I'm trying to think of places
No,
where I know she's been.
You're not
that could
answering my
help.
questions. You want us to help? You want to help us find your daughter?
I do want you to
Well,
help.
a good starting point would be to answer the questions, okay? If I say to you, we're here
Oh.
because, and then you just ignore that like I never asked it and go off in some other direction, is that answering the question?
You fucking tell her. Tell her.
Again, we're here because.
Because I lied, because I brought you up here, and honestly I was reaching for
No, stop
another
right there.
avenue.
I want you to tell me how lying to us is going to help us find your daughter.
Yeah.
Well, then if the main thing you want to do is find your daughter, and you don't think lying to us is going to help us find her, why would you do that?
Compulsive liar.
I'm scared, and I know I'm running out of options. It's been a month.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared of not seeing my daughter ever again.
Then why would you lie to the police then if you're...
I have been.
I would have called the police immediately, and that's the part that I just don't understand. Well,
I
we've
didn't know
got so
what
many
to do.
resources out there
Oops.
that we could help on day
Uh-oh.
one.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. At that point I'm thinking,
Oh.
okay, they haven't been gone that long. Maybe I can find them. Maybe I can track them down.
We're not stupid, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid. Everything that's coming
She
in from the
sure is.
feds
She's
office,
being like
hey,
condescending by
if you
making
get
people
cases
think
going,
that she's
we're
able
only
to,
going to find out
that
because
she can get away with
either
it, you
that
know?
mom or something happened to Kaylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere and you had something to do with it. Either way, right now, it's not a very pretty picture to be painting. You're painting yourself as a very bad person. It needs to end.
The truthful thing
This
is that I
needs
have
to
not
end.
seen my daughter. The last time that I saw her was on the 9th of June.
Remember we had those two people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster? That's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're giving me no choice. Tell us what happened to Kaylee. Tell us what happened to Kaylee.
I dropped off Kaylee. And that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her off.
Where did you drop her off?
I dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
That's exactly
No,
where I
you
dropped
didn't.
her off.
Did you just
She
take your
doesn't
baby
exist. The
to
babysitter
your
does
drop
not
off?
exist.
No, I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened. It happened for a reason because
You're
it was
glad
past
you
due.
saw your mom. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago. Said, "Mom, I don't know
I
where."
saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
So wait a minute. You're more afraid of your
That's
mom's
a good
reaction than
thing.
you are if you ever see your daughter again.
No, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself.
Is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us? So you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here, or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
That's a good
Okay,
question.
so you purposely misled us. This was all in an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
In a backward sort of way, yes.
No.
I'm coming back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her. Familiar situations that
Oh my gosh.
would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What do you think she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how do
she's
you think
not.
she's going to get here?
Because she's with someone else.
She's with someone
Oops.
else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. I think we need some new
One
play.
other person who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks, okay, bring her to the building that you used to work at.
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something
Well, let me
would have
ask you
happened,
this.
I would have admitted that a long time ago.
Do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared
That you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now.
She doesn't exist,
Who did you
dude.
call first? Who did you go
That's
to
crazy.
first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no one. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Casey was then taken to the county jail, where she, in the evening hours, was able to make a phone call and just happened to see her mother on the local news moments before speaking to her.
Casey? Mom. Hey, sweetie. Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV. Which one? What do you mean, which one? Which one? I did 4 different ones, and I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen 1 or 2 so far. You don't know what my involvement is and stuff? Casey. Mom. What? No. I don't know what your involvement is, sweetheart. You're not telling me where she's at. Because I don't f***ing know where she's at. Are you kidding me? Casey, don't waste your call to scream and holler at me. Waste my call sitting in the jail? Whose fault is you sitting in the jail? You blaming
Damn, her mom just told her. Whose fault is it, huh?
You mean it's not your fault? What do you mean it's not your fault, sweetheart? If you'd have told them the truth and not lied about everything, they wouldn't... Do me a favor, just tell me what Tony's number is. I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't have his number. We'll get it from Lee because I know Lee's at the house. Get Tony's number for me.
Hey,
Hey, can you give me Tony's number?
I can do that. I don't know what real good it's going to do you at this point.
Well, I'd like to talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Because I called to talk to my mother, and it's f***ing waste. Oh, by the way, I don't want any of you coming up here when I have my first hearing for bond and everything else. Like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
You're making it real tough for anybody to want to try to... I'm not going around and around with you. That's pretty pointless. Christina would love to talk to you because she thinks that you will tell her what's going on. Frankly, We're gonna find out. Everything
I have
she's
no
telling them
clue where
is a
Kaylee
lie.
is. If I knew where Kaylee was, do you think any of this would be happening? No.
Anyway, you only got a couple minutes for this, so I'm not gonna let you completely waste it. Here's Christina. She thinks she can get through.
No, I want Tony's number. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Hello?
Hi, I'm glad everybody's at my house. Do me a favor, get my brother back because I need Tony's number.
Does Tony have anything to do with Kaylee?
No, nothing.
Okay, so why do you want to talk to Tony?
He's my boyfriend, and I want to actually try to sit and talk to him because I didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier because I got arrested on whim today. I just want to talk to Tony and get a little bit of...
Casey, you have to tell me if you know anything about Kaylee.
Sweetheart,
if anything happens with Kaylee,
I don't know who.
you understand? I'll die. If anything happens to that baby.
Who's Christina?
Calling you guys, a waste. Huge waste.
Casey appeared in
Oh
the
my
court
God,
the next
she's so
morning and was
freaking
initially
old.
denied
What the
bail
fuck?
by the judge. He cited his reason as her undeniable disregard for the welfare of her own child. She was kept in protective custody, and it would be 9 days until she received her first visit from her parents.
Don't baby her. Don't baby her. She's literally a murderer.
We've been watching you for so long. You haven't? I love you. I love you too. Hi. We've been seeing you sitting down. We forgive anything that you've said.
No, what the fuck? Don't do that. Shut the fuck up. Don't say that. Don't say you'll forgive the people. She literally.
That t-shirt, I didn't get a chance to ask him, other things. Kaylee's picture's on the back. Is it? Can Dad show me the shirt? Yeah, turn around so she can see. It's the Never Lose Hope Foundation. Do you see it? I can see part of it, yeah. Have you seen me? And then it has the information on how to contact. Okay. Casey, you don't realize that the whole United States is looking for our Kaylee. I know that, Mom. Her cover's going to be on People magazine in a few days. Okay.
With a readership of over 46 million adults in America, having your missing child on the front cover of People magazine would seem as a godsend to most. Yet Casey's response
Yeah, hers is like.
it's a lost cause.
Okay.
Everybody is looking for her. Good. Everybody is looking for her. Are we going to be able to find her, do you think? I hope we can, Mom.
Okay, more black.
I didn't get a chance to ask Lee. Can you look up a little bit more? Raise your eyes up a little bit. There you go. So now, look straight up so I can look into your eyes, darling. Thank you. I need to do that. It's okay to cry, Casey. It's all right, love. We've all been crying.
Setting aside morality and ethics for just a moment, Casey at this point would be emotionally exhausted. She had been sitting in an isolated jail cell for almost 2 weeks as the entire world was turning against her. Anyone in her position, guilty or otherwise, would be at near breaking point, and her composed exterior now finally slips. She, for a brief moment, allows herself to be vulnerable, and for perhaps the first time, expresses the pain of her situation.
Oh, Jesus.
This is one of the few moments where Casey's true self is on display. Of itself, it's a touching moment between a mother and daughter. Yet if we add in the context of the surrounding elements, she is
But she's
only
crying
expressing
for
this pain
herself.
Just
Right.
a moment ago, when she saw her deceased daughter's face on her father's shirt, none
She
of
didn't
this emotion
care.
came out.
Yeah, she didn't give a fuck. Oh, what? Okay, bye.
The visit is extremely bizarre.
Enjoy your
Casey's
MHA.
parents try to extract any information they can about Kaylee's possible whereabouts, and each time are essentially dismissed by Casey as if they're asking pointless and irritating questions.
Do we have any pictures of Sandy's apartment?
Lee and I already talked about this. I don't know. It could be on the disc at home. I don't know.
What is your... I can't get into your...
I gave Lee everything already. I gave Lee all of the passwords, everything we could possibly
I want to
think
get
of all over again.
I want to get some video clips off Kaylee because the video clip with Grandpa is really helping people. Still pictures don't show
No, they don't show her personality.
Right, and we need to show her personality, so I need to make sure we get that password.
Yeah, I gave Lee the password.
Please look up, sweetheart. I need to see your eyes.
I want to be able to look at you guys too. I can't look at you and look at the camera.
Well, you don't have to look at the camera. Look at me.
I'm looking at you.
Okay.
You're sitting very low.
I know.
The exchange switches back and forth from
Okay.
inquisitive and challenging to sympathetic and loving, and every time her parents stop inquiring over the case and show that they still care about Casey herself is when the tears come out.
Do you want to speak to your father now?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
I look like hell.
Well, you know something? You really need to keep your spirit high for all this.
I have
Okay.
been crying while I've been in here.
All right. I'll do an update right after I finish this row.
Well, you know, I want to be able to reach out and hug you and give you the big Papa Joe hug.
The big Papa Joe hug.
But you know, we got to get that little girl back any way we can, and we're doing everything we can.
My only concern. I gave Lee a statement. I want him to speak to whoever in the media.
She does not give a fuck about her daughter. She literally just changed the subject.
Every time Casey's parents mention
Actually.
that people are willing to help with a search, Casey dismisses their credibility and even attacks some of their characters while she's at it.
Tara?
Tara from Michigan.
You mean Mark's psycho ex-wife, Tara?
Yes.
Listen. People like Tara, people like Jesse who are maybe trying to help, even Christina, God bless her, don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I want you to know, I want to take your pain away from you. So, you know, you can tell me anything.
I know that, Dad.
I miss you, sweetie.
I know that. I miss you too.
I wish I could have been a better dad and better grandpa, you know?
You've been a great dad and you've been the best grandfather. Don't for a second think otherwise.
Well, you know,
You and Mom have been the best grandparents. Kaylee's been so lucky. Kaylee.
This is the first time she's mentioned her daughter. Like, positively. She's had.
She still has both of you.
Yeah, she slipped up. She slipped up.
You know, it goes without saying, you know, that
She actually slipped up. She said had. She said had.
it's empty.
Oh, I just realized.
All the little things that we took for granted, we miss them so much.
That's exactly how I feel.
All your little things and all her little things, it hurts.
Okay.
We're not there. Mom and I are just going through the motions, you know?
I ate coleslaw today. Tell them I ate coleslaw.
Well, you're probably eating a lot of things you never used to eat before because when you're hungry, you'll eat.
I hated bologna. I've been eating bologna and cheese on occasion. Grits. I don't do grits at all. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? You're gonna eat.
There you go. Sorry.
We get another glimpse at Casey's skill in
You are.
fabricating information and her ability to intertwine specific details to afford her lies some credibility. These minor intricacies are what would make her extremely convincing if we didn't happen to know otherwise.
They never searched by her full name. They searched by Zenaida Fernandez, whereas Zenaida Gonzalez never by her full name.
Oh my gosh, she's actually.
N-A-I-D-A. I don't think she has a middle name. There was never a middle name on anything that I remember seeing.
He doesn't exist. Dude, stop pinning it on people of color.
Remarried.
So Flores Gonzalez, and you don't know what her stepdad.
Fernandez Gonzalez.
But you don't know what.
Dude, she'd be an excellent LARPer. I'm just saying.
I think her dad's first name is Victor.
Oh my god, she's pulling shit out of her ass. That's so crazy that she's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna add this in.
Or divorced.
They are as of now, yeah. That was her stepdad. But I know she has a lot of money. That's where she got the car from.
I only get one or
Wait,
two phone calls.
she has a lot of money? Why would she be a nanny then?
But I get many, many, many phone calls and many people reaching out that just believe in you. They believe in us finding Kaylee. Okay? So keep your head up high.
She's like, she doesn't give a fuck about.
But if you think of anything that could help, don't be afraid.
Oh, I won't hesitate to let you guys know.
You have to keep thinking positive. Positive feelings, Casey.
Oh, I know. I have been. I've been staying as positive as I can.
But do you think after this long she'd still be local?
There's a possibility.
What's your gut telling you right now? You have the same.
She doesn't exist.
Okay. And your gut tells you that she's close or she's
Zenaida does not.
I know in my heart she's not far. I can feel it.
This was perhaps the first time Casey told the truth when speaking of her daughter's whereabouts, as she indeed wasn't
Yeah.
that far away. Her
I was gonna say
attorney,
her
Jose Baez,
dead
eventually
body is
managed
not
to get
far.
her bail, and Casey was fitted with an electronic monitoring device and released on August 21st. She had spent just over 1 month in custody. 2 months later, police were granted permission to arrest Casey on the charge of first-degree murder. She was taken in for interrogation, but immediately requested her right to counsel. She was kept in the interview room while awaiting her attorney, and the released footage of that period is so bizarre to the point where it's almost comical. The detectives give off a
Almost
passive,
comical.
glaringly obvious vibe that lets Casey know exactly what they think, being that she is guilty of her daughter's probable death and a fundamentally
I have a
terrible
little bit
human
of
being on every imaginable
red
level.
clay.
Casey's response to this is to essentially ignore it and act as if the discourse between them and the situation itself is an everyday occurrence, one that perhaps doesn't concern
Okay, I
the
need to move
disappearance
this
of her
one a little
daughter,
bit.
for which
There you
she
go.
is being charged for. You'll notice that she effortlessly maintains the same confident and talkative disposition that she had in her previous
I want to have a
interviews with
strawberry.
police. It's almost surreal to watch given the circumstance, and the visual element adds an entire new level to the absurdity. The first segment of footage shows the arresting officer waiting with Casey for the lead investigator to arrive. He initiates the conversation by bringing up the subject of Casey's parents. He asserts that he's worried about them, but the actual message he's putting across is that he essentially knows Casey is guilty and that she isn't fooling anyone. It's an indirect
I'm sorry if
yet
you can
obvious
hear me eating the
accusation.
strawberry. It's just so
I
big.
was afraid that some of what I said to them probably offended them because I told them that if I find out something that you don't want to hear, I'm going to tell you anyway.
Well,
Just
honestly,
because-
they'll respect that. That's just, you know, the type of people that they are in the same way.
I know they are.
I wonder if they looked into Tony.
Intention to piss anybody in your family off.
Right, her boyfriend.
I'm not in it to get a conviction. I get nothing out of it. I get zero.
Like, why does she want to talk to him so bad, you know? I guess for emotional support. I mean, emotional support is an ounce, but...
Yeah, I agree.
It is what it is. Where I get sideways with people tends to be when attorneys get involved.
I've heard most people say that. They don't like attorneys very much.
I have many family members that are attorneys. I have no problems with attorneys. What I have problems with are, at some point, we have to set aside the rules and we have to find kids. And you know what? So be it. That's why I told you in the car. You know, if you tell me anything now, I'll get up and say, yep, I heard it and she'd already invoked and we can't use any of it. That's just the way it is. That's all that matters to me.
The detective here has essentially just asked Casey for the information he knows she has about her missing child. Rather than retaliate and refute the blatant accusation, Casey continues with her sharp responses of accordance as if to say she agrees and knows exactly where the detective is coming from. Yet,
Yeah,
although
she's
she
bluffing.
apparently agrees, she offers no
She'd be
information
excellent
or
at poker.
follow-up
Damn.
dialogue thereafter. It's so incredibly awkward, yet equally intriguing to watch.
And, you know, when we did another case that I was involved in, you know, they lost a confession. And I sat there and I looked right at the guys that we worked with. I said,
That's not what's
who
important.
cares?
Yeah.
We found her. We found her and he's going to get what is coming to him. That's not my job. You know. And
She's
it works
shaking
out
in her
the-
boots.
And it works out in the end on all sides, to be honest with you. It may not be comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
And I've done things that if I get caught for, I'm not going to be comfortable, I can tell you that. It's just the way life is. You know, but it's not the end of the road either. And that's what we have to keep in mind. It's not the end of the road.
Casey then casually brings up the topic of the grand jury and the media surrounding her murder trial. She raises the questions as if she's talking about her favorite daytime TV show.
Yeah,
But if the subpoena itself is just a regular federal or
certain
grand
things
jury
are
subpoena, that's public record.
knowledge, yeah.
It doesn't say what it's for. It doesn't say what case it's in. It doesn't. It just says you're subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury.
Well, with them announcing that, you know, there was going to be a grand jury, and obviously my name was thrown out, they knew who the grand jury was for.
Who threw your name out?
All of the media said that it was from an inside source, meaning in here. So
Oh.
that's where they all say is.
I can tell you what I
She's
see
lying.
from the media and what I think of people who leak stuff to the media.
I think it's garbage. Yeah,
but
I agree.
You know,
That's the
that
next way of
doesn't
putting it.
doesn't make it any less necessary. Without them, I'll be quite honest. Without the media, we don't find a quarter of the kids that we.
Oh, I agree. It helps. The exposure has helped bring in so many tips for my daughter.
But at the same time, what it creates is it creates a monster that otherwise isn't necessary.
Exactly.
The tips are what the tips are. If it was a local media only,
That's true. It becomes really an issue, I think, when so many tips come in and you have to sift through all of it because you have so much manpower to go through all of that. That it gets to be frustrating, I think, to like, oh, is this true? Is this not true? And you have people going through. Actually, hold on. Let me. Like, I've read, or I mean, I've listened to a lot of true crime where they're like, oh, there's so many tips that come in, but a lot of them are just like people who want attention or want to be. It's just like, what the heck is wrong with these people? Like, why do they want to be involved so bad to the point where they're like, oh, I'm gonna basically put police on a wild goose chase, essentially? And it's just like, why? Why? Because they wanted attention? That's crazy. I don't know. Fucking. But anyway, yeah. I just want to talk.
That's contiguous to the state of Florida. It's not.
When people are only getting their information from the Nancy Graces or from Globe magazine or People or stuff like that. Are you kidding me?
You're not gonna break bad, right?
Oh, I totally forgot I was supposed to do an update after I did that row.
Okay.
I'm far past that.
I know this is. Oh, yeah.
I'm about to finish this row, so I'll do that.
Just slide your hands out. No, I'll go get a key.
I honestly can't. So they're a little tight.
What the?
Thanks for entertaining us. Just slide your hands out.
Corporal Edwards.
Actually, if I could, I would have done that for you.
Do you know Baez's phone number off the top of your head?
No, I do not.
How can we get the cell number or his number?
I know his office number.
What is that?
407.
I've identified myself. You know why you're in custody.
I wonder if that's fake.
And you signed this. You want your attorney present.
Yes. Hey, it's Casey. I'm with Corporal Edwards. I know the last name. Sorry. I'm at the sheriff's department. If you'd like to come down and meet with us, thank you. Yes.
Is she faking it?
Answer your other question.
Okay.
From that
Here.
picture.
Before we continue. Update. So this is what I've got so far. Hopefully you guys are able to see it. If I need to, maybe I should. Okay. This is just gonna be. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to do this. If it fails, then I am so sorry. Okay. Oh, that's a boob. Sorry. Okay. I'm just trying to give you a better look because I feel like it's too far away. Maybe this will help, right? All right.
I cut my hair. It was really short even last year. I just started growing it back out this year, so guessed about that. Okay.
He's like, I didn't ask, but thank you.
How was my dad this morning?
He had a hard time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I only saw from the media and got a chance to hear him talking to my mom. I spoke to him last night and this morning for just a quick second before he left. So
Hopefully this is a better look.
A little bit. He was with Mark, and he was really struggling. I mean, I can imagine he was having a hard time.
See, there are some W's down there, down here.
To essentially
So.
provide testimony to indict you, or to at least. And he was really
Oh, jeez. I just realized this.
And I felt bad for him, to be honest with you. I truly did.
well, I even told him last night. I know he was subpoenaed and under the law he had to answer whatever questions were asked him, and I told him to do what he had to do.
Imagine you were Casey, but void of any wrongdoing whatsoever. Your daughter was kidnapped 5 weeks ago, and now a detective who thinks you're the culprit is relaying the agonizing
Oh my
moments of your
gosh,
father
forget it.
providing information for your arrest. No matter how stoic or self-controlled your nature, you would most likely be in tears or completely enraged at the overwhelming unjustness of the situation.
You anxious about today at all?
I have been. I mean, this is something honestly we've been
Try to
preparing for
pour this
from the
back
beginning,
in.
just because of
Eh,
words that were directly
eh,
spoken from
eh. Okay,
your
got it.
judge and also from Sergeant Allen. They were saying that this is what they were planning on doing from the very beginning, from that first day. So they wrote me off within the first couple hours. That was the only time they ever made any effort to try to talk to me one-on-one. And
No, it was kind of difficult.
it was kind of difficult considering.
Well, considering, obviously, in light of everything that's going on and the fact that you've been arrested for other things, makes it a little more difficult to sit down and even talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we haven't wanted to.
Yeah. But I do have counsel, and that's something that, my attorney's always been a phone call away.
Then how come they're not here if that's the case?
And we had agreed, him and I together, that we would all sit down together, him and I, and you guys, and, we'd entertain whatever questions you have, and
There is no possible way that a defense attorney would actually sit down and, as Casey states, entertain any question the police have for you.
Yeah,
Yet if we weren't paying close attention, we would take her at her word due to the eloquence of her dialogue and not realize everything she's saying is complete nonsense.
No defense attorney would ever do that. Like in this scenario, that's why I was like, well, where are they? Because you're doing shit that I think a defense attorney would be like, okay, put the brakes on immediately.
I know it goes both ways on that, and I guess it would have.
I think I'm gonna finish up this corner.
I should have been the one to, I guess, come forward with it, but we did open up that door to law enforcement before, when Sergeant Allen was making a big deal saying, well, we want to talk to her. When can we talk to her? And he's saying, well, the door's open.
I don't believe he ever told us the door was open.
What's fascinating is how instinctive and confident her assertions are. In any other
she's
circumstance,
crazy
or even without
confident.
the knowledge we have now, you would have no reason not to believe everything she's saying.
I've heard the words come out of his mouth, even myself, directed to other people that maybe didn't either relay the message or took it a different way. So I don't know. I think
Like the way that she's talking, like I feel like most psychologists, where they always say like, oh, they always say the reason why they feel this way, the way that they're speaking now and stuff like that. Sorry, I keep have my Discord on the side a little. How about that? Is that okay? That should be okay. You guys okay with that? Just a little bit wider. I think that's okay. All right. Sorry.
The same goal is to find Kaylee. We all still feel.
But yeah, I think most psychologists, when they hear her, she's so confident. It's really hard. Like she has the speech of somebody who's telling the truth. Right.
Whether you have a bucket load of evidence downstairs that contradicts that and says otherwise, or all you have is speculation, or nothing at all. I mean,
We have more than speculation.
as every tip and
that's
every
something that I
lead
told
followed
Jose
up on.
directly.
Yeah.
That we have more than speculation. We have a lot, or else we wouldn't be to this point. A lot.
He's like, at this point,
This was
threatening her.
essentially a direct confrontation.
Yeah.
The detective has just told Casey they have sufficient evidence to prove her guilt. Casey doesn't refute or even respond to the accusation. She instead falls back to her ridiculous dialogue once again, hoping the confidence in her voice will mask the absurdity of what she's actually saying.
Well, and I said the same thing to them, that, they said that we're at the end of a hallway, and I'm thinking we're at the end of a hallway and there's two doors. Which door are we going to go through? Or I guess this is, we're at this point, and
we are at this point where
the final step is which door is walked through.
We are well beyond where we were before. I mean, those issues are gone, okay? And when they referred to we're at the end of the hallway,
Prison.
Well, so there's no question, I guess. You can specify that at this point. Or what
Okay.
your perspective is on that.
Oh, we're working on this middle part.
Can we come right back?
Yeah, that's fine.
You plan on running off?
I'm not going anywhere.
I gotta stretch out a little bit. I'm not as young as I used to be.
It's unfortunate that right when the pressure was starting to build, the second detective interrupts the exchange and they both leave the room soon after. Casey waits alone for roughly 40 minutes before her attorney shows up.
He's gonna ask you a question. You don't say anything else other than the answer. Okay?
Oh.
Casey.
Where was this guy? He should have.
Today, and I read you that form. Basically, just same thing I said to Mr. Baez over the phone. There's been numerous requests or
This guy should not have allowed her to say anything while she.
That's why we brought you here instead of the jail.
He was not
Correct?
there.
Okay. Now, based on your request for us to call him and bring him here, he's here. So what we're going to try to do is give you a few minutes somewhere that's not recorded. No secrets, I told you. This room's recorded. I have to be able to approach my chain and explain why.
The detective now guilefully takes Casey up on her previous offer, where she insisted they were willing to sit down with police and answer questions.
But first, I needed you to tell him, in your own words, if you will, that you'd like to take the opportunity to deal with us like you've made that request in the past. So, is that something you want to tell him?
I told him the same thing we talked about before, that we would entertain any questions that they have. We would listen and discuss it, and if we have something to respond, we'll respond.
Okay, do you want to speak to me in private?
Yes.
So we can clarify this?
Yes.
It would come as no surprise that no conference was to be had. Casey was
Yeah.
instead taken to the county jail, where she would remain for 2.5 years awaiting trial. Once
That
this footage
defense attorney
released
was
to the
probably
public domain,
fucking
the consensus was
furious.
that Casey at best was a cold-hearted mother, and at worst, a hideous, despicable murderer. But what's curious is that although these opinions may be accurate, they came from a completely misguided notion, being that her behavior in the footage was entirely genuine. Casey was in all likelihood being completely fake this entire time. So you might be curious as to why a person would actually fake such a poised temperament, when it would be far more fitting to fake sadness and despair. We all have aspects to ourselves that are ungenuine to a certain degree. How we act at a business dinner won't be the way we are at home with our close friends or family. The more comfortable the setting, the more we can be ourselves. Those educated on Casey's past would assert that she was rarely sad, rarely angry, but always this bubbly and agreeable personality, even when it didn't suit the situation. She was one of those people where something just seemed off, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it.
So that's done right here.
That Casey
move
was
over
fake in
here.
every single setting,
And then I'm
every
gonna
single person, all of the
move
time.
down here.
A
Oh
trait
my
that
god,
might
I
go
almost fucked
unnoticed in everyday
up my
life,
entire
but would
life
clearly
right
stand
there.
out when shown
And then
under
this
the
right here.
microscope of a criminal case study. Casey had become
there's
so
a
accustomed to this
browse.
fraudulent way of being that it even came as a natural behavior to her in the extraordinary setting we see here. And the assertion is that because Casey knew just how well she could fabricate this character, she thought she could use it to mask her anxiety and thus conceal guilty behavior. Casey, in all likelihood, had little to no regard for her daughter. That's not even an argument anymore. But her true temperament
That's
would
true.
likely
She
be
did
far
not.
more apprehensive due to the concern
She did not
over
give
her
a fuck
own
about
welfare.
Casey.
Every
Or
time the detective
Casey,
insinuated an
not Casey.
accusation, Casey kept the same tone, same demeanor, and same confident, lighthearted disposition. If you took her out of this interrogation...
Here's another question, okay? Legitimate question. Do you think that people who name their children after themselves are in some way and form narcissistic? Because, like, okay, to me, I would personally want, if I had a child, right, that child to not be me. Like, I think most people will say that they've had their shares of issues in their lives. Then why would you say, well, I want my child to go through the exact same thing that I did? I just want my child to be a mini version of myself. Like, that's crazy to me, because I would feel like I would want my child to be how do I describe it? Their own individual, and to kind of come into their own way. They don't have to be completely opposite of me. They can be like me, in some ways, but I wouldn't want them to be a carbon copy of me. And that's why I don't think that, like, as a result, I think that they deserve their own name that's unique to them because they are someone who is unique. So, like, I don't know. I also do not like the idea of seeing your child as your legacy, or like, oh, you're supposed to carry on like my legacy. I'm not a big fan of that either. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. Am I just crazy? I might just be crazy. That wouldn't be the first time. Okay, we're gonna work over here now. And then we're gonna wrap this back up, and then we're gonna work on, I guess like we can work on O. On O. Okay, back to the video.
Interrogative setting and placed her in the mall with her friends, it would seem completely normal. She would be faking her personality in both environments, yet we are only able to realize it in one. This type of mindset is linked to sociopathy. Whatever the situation or circumstance,
My
they
strawberries
aim
are
to have an advantage over you. So how do they do this? They lie, and also calculate how they are going to feel and react to a certain situation before it occurs. The entirety of her focus was on making herself look good rather than being worried about the actual quality of her character. Casey, in a nutshell, was an inauthentic person, long before she ever gave birth to her ill-fated daughter. And her skill at deception alongside her manufactured personality is arguably the most terrifying part of this entire case. On December 11th, 2008, just under 5 months since she was reported missing, Kaylee's skeletal remains were discovered in a swamp less than a mile away from the Anthony household. She was wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket and then placed in a canvas laundry bag. Duct tape was discovered around the nose and mouth area of the skull.
Oh my
and
God.
her death was ruled a homicide. Prosecutors in the case then
Holy
announced they would be
shit.
seeking the death penalty. There were a multitude of discoveries made in the lead-up to the trial.
She
and many believed it
suffocated
to be
her
an
with
open and
duct
shut
tape?
case due to the damnatory nature
That's
of the
horrifying.
evidence. On the last day Kaylee was seen alive by anyone other than her mother, and the day many believed she was murdered, Casey Anthony made the following internet searches.
What was it? Shot girl costume suffocation, foolproof suffocation. Foolproof.
At 7:54 p.m. that same evening, Casey and her boyfriend Tony were seen in a Blockbuster video store. Kaylee was nowhere in sight, and many presume she was already dead and decomposing in Casey's trunk at this point. In the following weeks, Casey went out partying most nights. Just 3 days after her daughter's supposed abduction, she was captured in various photos participating in a hot body contest. 12 days after, she got a tattoo on her back saying Bella Vita, an Italian motto that translates beautiful life. She also made an entry in her diary around the same time which read, I completely trust my own judgment, and I knew that I made the right decision. This is the happiest that I have been in a very long time. I hope that my happiness will continue to grow. The trial commenced on May 24th,
This is what I mean. This is exactly what I
The
mean.
gist of the prosecution's argument was that Casey suffocated her daughter with duct.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean by some people are just not meant to be parents. Some people just do not have a lifestyle that makes them happy that involves kids. And this is the exact reason. This is the exact reason. What are we doing? Oh? For this very reason. This exact reason. It's because of this. It's just like some people just are not meant to be parents. They want a lifestyle that is partying, or there are some of my friends, some of them really love video games, or they really love their hobbies to a point where they're like, I can't have kids. I would make a terrible parent, or I would be unhappy, and as a result like a kid who has an unhappy parent, they're going to be unhappy too. Like nobody grows up well when they have this idea in their mind. My parent actually despises me, or my parent actually hates that I exist. And that doesn't create a very situated individual in the future, because they don't they're not going to be someone who's going to be happy. They're going to look at their existence and they're going to be like, no, nobody loves me, nobody wants me to be around. And so why would you be a parent if that's the case? Just don't be a parent if that's the case. Just like help society not have more serial killers and psychopaths and sociopaths and stuff. Just adopt, or put your child up for adoption. Um Abort the child if you need to. I know that's very painful, so it's hard, but especially just use contraceptives. Okay? Just use contraceptives. Use birth control. No birth control. Anyway, continuing. We're just a little bit. We've got 10-15. Oh my gosh. Am I fucking it up? I probably am.
Tape, and then placed her in the trunk for a few days before disposing of her body in the swamp. The motive for the murder was the primary focus during their opening statement.
This isn't just a case about Casey Marie Anthony. It's a story about Kaylee Anthony as well.
Kaylee. Okay. Still, what was her father? Who was Kaylee's?
August 9th of 2005.
Sorry, it's still really close to Casey anyway.
And Kaylee lived nearly every day of her life on a quiet residential street in Orlando called Hope Spring Drive. Casey Anthony, Kaylee's mother, appeared to all outward observers to be what her parents thought she was. A loving mother working hard to provide support for her daughter. But as the evidence in this case and the investigation into the background of Casey Anthony will show, that was an illusion. On Monday, June 16th, Cindy Anthony goes to work, as I've described, sometime between 7 and 8 a.m., and is out of the house until the late evening. George Anthony specifically recalls
That's a D.
that at 12:50 p.m. on June 16th,
Down here.
2008,
Okay.
his daughter Casey left the residence on Hope Spring Drive with Kaylee Marie Anthony. Kaylee was wearing a pink shirt, jean shorts, sunglasses, and a backpack. And George Anthony, kissed his granddaughter goodbye and never saw her again.
Oh, yeah. And
in fact, no one but Casey Anthony ever saw Kaylee Marie Anthony alive again. The evidence in this case will establish that there is no other reason for the placement of multiple pieces of duct tape on this child's face, mouth, and nose other than the specific intent to end that child's life. No one but Casey Anthony had access to all the pieces of evidence in this case. The duct tape, the laundry bag, the blanket, the shorts, the shirt, the car.
Damn, she's going hard.
No one else lied to their friends,
Uh-oh.
to their family, to investigators. No one else benefited from the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony.
Poor Christine, her best friend, was like, I don't know what to do if Kaylee is dead.
Although there
Like, I
was a
can't
lack of
imagine.
direct physical evidence tying the defendant to her daughter's death, the evidence the state actually had still seemed overwhelming, and they understandably thought relying on the facts alone would easily secure a conviction. The defense, on the other hand, were up against it. So not only did they use charm and appeal to sway the jury's attention away from the
Charm and
evidence,
appeal?
they dropped an absolute bombshell in their opening statements to create as much doubt as humanly possible.
On behalf of the defense, I want to thank you for the sacrifice that you've made in your jury service and coming here and helping us see justice. We know it's no easy task, and we intend, I'm sure both sides, on getting you home as quickly as possible once you have all of the information that you need. Everyone wants to know what happened. How in the world can a mother wait 30 days before ever reporting her child missing? It's insane. It's bizarre. Something's just not right about that. Well, the answer is actually relatively simple. She never was missing. Kaylee Anthony died on June 16, 2008, when she drowned in her family's swimming pool. Well, the reason we're all here is because not of the commonality of this tragedy, but of the uniqueness of the family that it happened to. You will hear about ugly things, secret things, things that people don't speak about, things that Casey never spoke about. On June 16, 2008, after Kaylee died, Casey did what she's been doing all her life, or for most of it, hiding her pain, going into that dark corner and pretending that she does not live in the situation that she's living in. This family must keep
The hell is he talking about?
And it all began when Casey was 8 years old and her father came into her room and began to touch her inappropriately.
What?
Who, at 8 years old, learned to lie immediately. She could be 13 years old, have her father's penis in her mouth, and then go to school and play with the other kids as if nothing ever happened. That will help you understand why no one knew that her child was dead.
The trial would go on to last 6 weeks, with the prosecution exposing the truly dark and deceptive nature of Casey's character. While the state relied on fact, the defense clung on to theory and proposed every conspiracy under the sun in the hope they would create enough skepticism and confusion. One of the more noted details of the trial was the courtroom presence of Jose Baez. He had an exceptional ability of narrative control and storytelling, and his capacity to create a connection with the jury seemed far more adequate than that of the state. This was recognized and mentioned multiple times in the media, yet the overwhelming majority of those following the case were almost certain that it wouldn't be enough to save the defendant. Closing arguments were put forward.
I wouldn't be
on
able
Sunday,
to
the
be a
3rd of
fucking
July.
lawyer.
When you have a child.
Because how can I, like, how can you. It's like, you know that the person that you're defending, like, killed someone. For sure. They're so sus. And then you're gonna go out and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and defend this. I would not be able to do it. Absolutely not. I'd just be like, I can't do it. You're on your own, buddy. Goodbye. That's basically how I would feel. But
Child becomes your life. This case is about the clash between that responsibility and the expectations that go with it and the life that Casey Anthony wanted to have. Casey meets Tony. Tony has this life. He's free. He's a club promoter. He's out there at night with the loud music and dancing, and it's a great free life. So she has a choice. A life tethered to a child, or a life free to be 22. And as hard as it is for anyone to imagine, she had to choose between sacrificing two things.
Is this
First
the
was
hallway
the
thing?
dreams and the life she wanted.
Where they were talking about,
Second,
like, which hallways are you gonna go down? That they were
we
talking about
submit to you
earlier?
the evidence in this
With the
case
investigators?
that the choice she made was her child.
Here we are at the end of our journey.
Move this up a little.
And I have to tell you that I probably think you have more questions than you have answers. And if you recall at opening statements, the final thing that I told you, at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, the one question will never be answered. The key question in this case will never be answered. It can never be proven. And that is, how did Kaylee die? I'm going to start with my biggest fear.
Wait, how?
I'm going to tell
She
you right up
suffocated.
front what I fear may happen in this case.
It was clear. There was duct tape over her mouth and nose. It's not really a question, no?
I know that there were times where every single person in here felt something deep down inside. Your rules of deliberation, what the law is that this case must not be decided for or against anyone because you feel sorry for anyone or are angry at anyone.
You'll notice that Mr. Baez locks the jury's focus on this while subtly concealing this. He presents the argument that the prosecution has purposely got the jury emotionally invested in the case in the hope it would push them towards a guilty verdict. Yet in this exact same statement, he himself is getting them emotionally invested for the exact opposite reason. While refuting the prosecution's supposed attempt to entice anger, he subtly attempts to evoke empathy. Say what you want about this attorney and the ethics of his conduct, but what you are about to witness is expertly done, and what many believe to be what saved Casey Anthony's life.
Wait, what? Did she get out?
Obviously, we want you to base your verdict on the evidence, not on emotion. And it's my biggest fear because it's such a difficult thing for you to push aside. Kaylee Anthony was a beautiful, sweet, innocent child who died far too soon. There's no doubt about it, and that is not disputed by anyone. But to parade her up here to invoke your emotion would be improper. It's improper under the law, and it's improper as to the rules of your deliberation. He went on for a great length of time talking about this beautiful child. Not on his evidence, not on the evidence that was presented before you. It was to set up the emotion for what was to come. And that is exactly how this case was presented. They didn't come right out the gate and show you the evidence. They gave you 2 weeks of testimony that was completely irrelevant and served only one purpose. And that was to paint Casey Anthony as a slut, as a party girl, as a girl who lies,
Dude.
Has absolutely nothing to do with how Kaylee died.
She was in a best bod concert
in
or
such a manner
contest.
that it was deliberate, it was methodical,
No, that doesn't make her.
it was thorough, and it was detailed.
That does make her a
then
party
focuses
girl.
on the
I
fact that the state has the burden of
personally.
proof, and thereafter continues to intertwine the two essential features of his argument: empathy and doubt.
Don't speculate. Don't guess. It has to be proven to you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. If you don't know what happened, it wasn't proven. We don't want you to tell us what you think happened. We want you to tell us what was proven happened. And that's the difference here. Because you know what? We can go on and speculate all day long as to the different theories that were posed before you, as to the different possibilities. But the truth of the matter is it must be what was proven. There are no mysteries to solve here. There should be no mystery before you right now. If you have questions, then it was not proven. And that's as simple as it goes. Now, back to what I was saying with their initial setup, the way the case was presented, the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You see, the strategy behind that is if you hate her, if you think she's a lying, no good slut, then you'll start to look at this evidence in a different light. You'll start to, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. And start to actually discriminate against her rather than give her the standard that is afforded to each and every citizen in our country. And that is that the state, that the government come in here and prove their case beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. But you can get away with that if we can get a jury to hate her. But you're here to fulfill an oath.
Okay. Need more. Need more.
Tremendously over this journey. And we're going to ask you to render a verdict of not guilty on these charges because they simply were not proven. And they're simply not true.
For the 9th Judicial Circuit in and for Orange County, Florida, State of Florida versus Casey Marie Anthony. As to case number 2008 CF 15606-0. As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury,
what's
found
wrong?
the defendant not guilty.
You wanna go out?
Okay. Dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July.
You might need some
2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. So say we all. Dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson.
Not guilty, though?
As to the charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child, verdict is to count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Oh my god.
Dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson.
What the f-
12, were these your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Will counsel and the defendant approach the podium?
What
Well,
the
I hope that this is a lesson to those of you who have been indulged in media assassination for 3 years, bias and prejudice and incompetent talking heads saying what would be and how to be. I'm disgusted by some of the lawyers that have done this, and I can tell you that my colleagues from coast to coast and border to border have condemned this whole process of lawyers getting on television and talking about cases that they don't know a damn thing about and don't have the experience to back up their words or the law to do it. Now you've learned a lesson, and we appreciate the jury. Those of you that have been objective and professional, we like it. Others, we're going to be talking to again. Thank you very much.
Casey did not murder Kaylee. It's that simple. And today, our system of justice has not dishonored her memory by a false conviction.
That is insane. That is actually crazy. I cannot believe that happened. I'm gonna be ending soon, so let's just let's talk. Let's talk. I'm gonna lower that. Oh, I just realized I was lowering my mic. Okay, cool. That should be better, huh? Alright, let's. That should be good. A little bit higher. Alright. Sorry. Yeah, that case is insane. I can't believe she got a not guilty verdict. I actually totally forgot, and then I remembered suddenly because I remembered, oh yeah, there was this one, I don't want to say viral, but very famous case where people were like, this bitch gotta go, or whatever, she's so guilty, and then everybody was like, she got the not guilty verdict, and people were going insane. They, I remember she was saying that she couldn't live properly or well because people were harassing her constantly. Like she had to actually get out of Florida and change her name or something because people were like, oh, Casey Anthony, I know exactly who you are, you disgusting you know, POS and stuff. For killing your daughter, despite everything. But I guess she's living her life now. She's I know that she definitely cannot be, like, listen. She accused her father of raping her when she was young. Like, if I was that father, I'd be like, you're not stepping foot into my house again. You know? There's no way. I mean, not to mention, you have to remember, right? Like, she's a pathological liar. So she would have no issue just, even if it, like, just telling her lawyers and being like, hey, so this happened to me when I was young, and just going on this tirade, you know? Oh my gosh, I have the red clay stuck on the thing. I'm trying to get rid of it. I got it. But yeah. Well, thank you for watching my crafting and crimes and crafts. Crimes and crafts. It was really fun. I actually really enjoyed it. It was such a fun little stream, actually. I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad people are enjoying the concept. Because I really think that true crime is popular nowadays, and just to relax in it, maybe even have it in the background while you're working or whatever it is, it's just so good. I certainly do that. But okay, so I just finished O. I think it's O, right? Yes, it is O. Let me make sure I have the little bag here. I'm gonna toss the rest of the little beads back in. To be honest, I'm not sure. I'll probably keep like 1 or 2, 3 or 4 of each, just in case some like fall out one day. Give me 1 second, okay? 1 second. Sorry about that. QB Papa gave me was coming over with something, so I went to go and grab it. He just wanted to drop something off to me. Anyway, but I'm gonna end stream here now. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Anybody who stopped by, I appreciate you guys. Whether it be Camilla or Shadow or Outlined. Our new follower, Cosima. I hope to see you guys again for the next crimes and crafting. If not, I think my next stream will be Wednesday, at 7. I think I have it at 7 o'clock now. Wait, let me double check. I don't want to be out here lying to you. Hold on. Yeah, I moved it to 7 p.m. So Amore, 7 p.m. We're gonna try Amore again. We're gonna make sure We're gonna make sure it's working and the sound is working before we do anything, okay? So I will talk to you guys on Wednesday. Thank you again for stopping by. If you like my streams, feel free to follow me on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe. I use my YouTube as a place to keep all of my VODs, since Twitch obviously keeps them on a time. So since I wanna keep them, I'll be uploading all my VODs onto YouTube. If you want to keep up with my socials, then I have Discord, and I also have Twitter. You can find the links for all of that in my about page for Twitch. Okay, so I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you guys, thank you beelings so much for stopping by. I will talk to you next time. Bye 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 bee bye bye. No. Bye 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 me.